energy today. I'm actually recovering from a cold and I have a hangover because yesterday it was not only my best friend's birthday, but also my beloved Jason's.
Energy today. I'm actually recovering from a cold and I have a hangover.
Okay, so we had no sound. That was awesome as well.
My bad, we got it.
No, I'm not going to start again. So yes, it was Jason's birthday yesterday. So happy birthday, Jason. For your birthday, I would like you to roll me a D100, please.
Oh. Okay, here we go. Da, 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 da. 27.
Okay. Thank you. We will talk about that a little bit later. Okay, so who we are Fumbles of Fame. We're a Discord community, blah, 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 blah. I said all that earlier, but you missed it. It is important to note that while we love everything Dungeons & Dragons, we are not affiliated, endorsed, or otherwise improved by Wizards of the Coast LLC. So we've been away for a while, and that's gone missing. We've been away for a while, so we're just going to do a quick recap. Last time we played Dungeons and Dragons Curse of Strahd with DM Leo. Our players woke up after having terrible dreams, each one with a foreboding message and a clue, which they've not all worked out yet. After waking from their terrible dreams, Voldemar, our hermit wizard, discovered that one of his sons, one of many, may I add, was struck down with a terrible fever over the night. It became apparent with the help of our cleric and our wizard that this was no ordinary sickness. This, in fact, was a curse. Armed with an heirloom necklace and sent to town, our travellers were seeking out an apothecary to help cure lung Bartosz. Bartosz? Yay! I got it right. Claps for me. On their way, they were followed by wolves who did not attack them, but just simply watched them. Finny, our very sprightly and happy-go-lucky halfling, decided that he was going to shoot a raven to feed to the wolves to kind of knock them out of their sense. Luckily, the Wizard of Foresight, Gwydion, foresaw that he was going to miss, and by luck he did. Once they got to town, many different interesting things happened, such as our own city guard Gerhardt quit the city guard. Voldemar, who met the apothecary, was told to seek out a collector of monstrosities, a circus master called Rictavio, who was last seen in Belinsky's toys. And lastly, and kind of more interestingly, they received a very frosty reception from the Blue Water Inn's innkeeper. This all kind of led to a series of quests, such as Rictavio asking to retrieve a raven from the local Vistani leaders, because he suspected that this raven was a were-raven, which is pretty much Barovian law. When they went to the Vistani camp, it seems that the Vistani leader's daughter, Arabelle, went missing. On seeking her out, they came in contact with Bluto, who was going to drown her in the lake. Having saved Arabelle, who was very grateful, she exchanged her new pet raven and many different stories on the way back before they returned her to her father. And then we kind of rounded up the session with a interesting note. Rictavio, the circus master, was actually none other than the renowned vampire hunter, Rudolf von Lichtenstein, I think, who revealed himself to the players. And that's where we're going to end the start of the session. So guys, you have completed obviously the quest, you have set free the raven, and you are heading back to town with Rudolph, who would prefer to be called Rictavio still. He is still in his half-elf disguise, so take it away.
Just while we're walking back, Gerhardt's going to actually be walking alongside Ella. And just calmly out of the blue, he says, "Would you have killed him? Bartok the fisherman, I mean."
I look up at him. No, I wouldn't have killed him. But I think that you cannot just let him run off when he is willing to kill a child, to sacrifice a child to some form of god in order to get some fish to feed his alcoholism. I don't know. You are a town guard. You should have a better sense of the laws of the land, right? This can't be right. You are nailing children's ears to stocks for petty crimes, and now you'll let someone who kidnapped a child and wanted to kill her just go. That seems weird to me.
I am no longer a town guard. That much needs to be said.
I know,
Perhaps
but
I would have agreed with you once, and a part of me still does. But you must understand that there is little what you would call justice in Barovia.
well, if no one starts looking after justice and trying to bring it about, it will never come to pass, right? Also, I think because Arabelle told her father who kidnapped her, and although Quinion very aptly concealed the fact that the culprit is still alive, I mean, if the Vistani ever encounter him again, he might fall on very hard times indeed, right?
Gideon looks up from his journal and nods at the conversation. You think he might have been not trying to listen, but he might have heard you. Okay.
Gerhardt smiles a little bit, and he says, "You remind me of myself a long time ago."
Do you mean me, or do you mean me, right?
Yes.
I think the old man might be him in the future.
I spent a long time trying to pursue justice, protect the innocent. But there is only so long you can do so in Barovia until you realize just how futile it is.
Well, but
That's
you did
loser
leave
talk.
But you did leave the guard to help us and to help Voldemar find his daughter. That seems like an honorable goal to me. So maybe that spirit is still in you. You just have to dust it up and bring it forth.
You may be right, but I have my own reasons for wanting to follow you.
And they are? I look at you with big eyes. Do tell.
His expression sort of hardens a little bit, and he says, "Unimportant. Let us continue."
If you think your reasons are unimportant, then that's the first thing we need to fix. If you ask me, I say, walking after you.
Oh, yes, quite. Gideon pipes up.
And also, look at Gwydion. He is such an handsome chap. You would do well to end up like him.
I was once like you. I have lost. I know one never hopes to hear this, or likes to hear this, but time tends to heal most things, or at least make them bearable.
And how much time exactly would be required for what I have suffered, I wonder? He says almost to himself.
Dear boy, I cannot know, even me, who can sometimes glimpse the future. It's up to you, I think, how much time.
Well, one thing at a time. Let us follow this Rudolph or Van Richten or Rictavio or whatever he wishes to call himself and see what that will bring.
Is Octavio walking ahead or is he walking beside us? Where is he situated?
He's
So
awkwardly
he-
listening to you talking about him in third person.
That's why I'm asking where is he?
No, he's walking ahead. He's heading back to the village of Vallaki.
I will try to catch up to him. So, pumping my little legs.
Maybe he'll walk a little quicker as well. He keeps glancing up at Van Richten and back down to his notebook and back up to Van Richten.
He was wearing this very nice jacket, very long, tailored coat, right? I'm tugging at his coat sleeves, and I say, Mr. Rictavio, I have a question. You said that you are, you know who you are and what you are doing. How many have you? I whisper. Could you hear that? I want to know how many vampires you have ended. You said you were vampires. I look over my shoulder.
I'm just testing. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
Oh, good, because I thought it was like push to talk for a second. There is lots of time to discuss this, but I do not feel comfortable discussing this where we are now. By the way, I'm not doing any voices this evening to save my voice, my throat. So when we reach back to Vallaki, meet me in my room, and I will be happy to answer any of your questions.
Okay.
Finny, meanwhile, will take his eyes off the gold purse that he's been judiciously just looking at and glancing around and looking back at in a sense of wonderment. And he'll look to Gerhardt. You know what fixes things in the short term? Whiskey. Lots and lots of whiskey.
Time to
I've
start
heard-
another alcohol addiction here. Way to go, Finley.
Right, so you guys are heading to town, I imagine. Okay, well, I'm just going to pause you there as you head to town undisturbed, and we're going to go to a very tiny, very quiet shack. Valdemar, while the rest of your newfound associates, shall we say, were saving Arabelle, you decided to rush home to take the Scroll of Greater Restoration to your son. What is going on and what are you doing?
At this point of time, I'm desperately trying to make this goddamn scroll work on my son, and since I lack any type of formal magical training, I'm just trying to smush it paper to his forehead and hoping that it works in an inexplicable way.
Okay, well, it doesn't work that way, unfortunately. And your son's breathing at this time is getting very laboured, and he is starting to struggle for breath.
I unroll the paper and try to understand what the hell it says in written form.
Okay, so as you unroll the scroll, it is, as a wizard, you can see it imbued with magic, and the very symbols and glyphs seem to shape and glisten, and they almost make sense, and then it's just a little bit out of your grasp. Can you do me an Arcana check, please?
Oh, here I go. 24.
Excellent. Okay, so the glyphs seem to move, and you know, you somehow know just by looking at these symbols that are in a strange and unusual magical language that you know the gestures and you know the words, but you unfortunately do not have the power to cast this spell. And you need someone with a link to the divine to cast this spell.
I roll the spell back up and I put it under Bartosz's pillow, turn to my wife and say, Edina, I will come back with this small one. I need her to complete this.
She nods in acceptance and tells you to hurry.
I steal half a loaf of bread before I go because I'm fucking hungry.
Yes. So you've had a very busy day, guys. As you know, Barovia is very, very dark. But you have about 4 hours until it is gone from moody darkness to just darkness. So nighttime will be upon you in about 4 hours. All right. And so I guess Voldemort, you're heading off to town to go get the others.
I would actually. I don't know if they went back to town, so I'm
That's
gonna
true.
try and go to the place where they headed to the Valaki camp.
Okay.
So I just go to the Valaki camp and ask around where the hell did those chuckleheads have gone to.
Okay. When you get to the Valaki camp, you find the Valaki in a state of packing up, and they seem to be packing up in a hurry.
What is the meaning of this? Have you not made camp mere days ago?
Who are you addressing this to? Are you addressing this to a Vistani or to a sunset elf?
To the nearest creature I can grab.
Okay, so the nearest creature to you is a sunset elf. And he turns to you and he gives you a shrug and he says that the master says that we are in danger, that if we stay here we'll be attacked by a saber-toothed tiger, and so we must pack up and move on.
Yes, I'm the Queen of Barovia, and I move on to find the Vistani.
Okay. You see the two brothers that you met previously, and they are helping packing up, and they seem to be arguing amongst themselves as usual, as you found them originally.
Yes, I have their. I call out to them. Livash, Oregal, what is the meaning of this?
The brother, who is not the father of Arabelle, the uncle of Arabelle, turns to you, and he points and he says, "You filthy traitor! All because of you, we are now under threat."
And what have I done? I have been gone for almost a day.
We know who you associate with. We want nothing to do with you.
I lift up my hands and say, I guess our desires are mutual. Point me where my other traitors went, and you will never see me again.
And he points to the town.
I bow very jokingly and turn to leave. And I say, I have never made an enemy with a Vistani, and I pray this misunderstandings doesn't make me one.
The brother just kind of like gestures you off, like he doesn't care. But Arabelle seems to look very upset about this whole issue that seems to be going on.
I want to roll for the contents of my pockets for something funny, like a dolly. I don't know. I have a lot of children. I'm probably teeming with toys that I make.
Okay, roll me a D100.
Oh, a D100.
Yeah, it'll be a percentage chance.
70.
17.
70.
70.
70.
Okay. Yeah, okay. You find a little dolly.
I dust it off against my sleeve and I give it to the girl.
Okay, she reluctantly looks at it and then looks to her father. And her father takes it and he says to you, "As I warned your friends, Strahd is always watching. You best be off."
I am leaving. You're the one who has a crying child. And I continue living.
Okay. Excellent. And you head off to town, right? I'll leave you to travel to town. Guys, you are nearing Valaki, and it seems a little bit more livelier. Yes?
Renee asked me to remind you kindly of the Steam Lab and the
I am logged
robotics.
into Streamlabs.
Very
We'll get to
good.
that. It's only just popped up. So we have a cheers from Renee. And for anyone watching, as you are watching, you are gaining XP. You can claim redemptions to affect the game. So you can give our players advantage or disadvantage. You can give me advantage or disadvantage. And there are many, many options depending on how many XP points you want to spend. So cheers, everybody, and I hope you enjoy the game.
Don't enable the DM to kill my children at will, please.
Please do. It'll be fun, I promise.
No, it's not.
Excellent. Okay. Done. What were we doing? Town. There we go. Other guys. All right, so you're nearing Velaki. Where are you going to go?
Actually, as they enter, Gerhard's just going to look at how busy things are getting, and he's just going to remark offhand, the festival must be near.
Gideon's going to look around, and I'd like to make an Arcana check. He's going to sense and see if we had heard that these rituals, these celebrations were coming, right?
Mhm.
And didn't one of the guards say that Strahd couldn't do anything against Velaki?
That's true. You did.
I would like to do an insight or an Arcana check to see if I think that is true or if that is false, if there is magical happenings or not.
Okay.
I got a 10 altogether with my ability mod.
Okay, well, it wasn't a very hard check, luckily. Now, as you remember when you first enter into the city, there was a church, and the magical sensings that you have, you get a sense that something was there, but it's now gone, and it's fading quickly.
Okay.
Maybe it's because something is missing. Maybe it's because it's time for another festival. After all, these festivals happen once a week, and maybe they need to happen again.
Okay.
You're not too sure.
So I think it could either be a recharge or it could be that the magic is fading and that the rituals have nothing to do with it, but they think it does. Okay.
Either or.
Could be. All right, thank you.
Welcome. So Gihar, what are you doing? You said you wanted to check on how busy things were.
No, he was just remarking on how the festivities seem to be picking up, and the festival's going to be very soon. But I'm assuming they're still following Rictavio.
Again, if you want to follow Rictavio, I mean, he's heading straight for the Blue Water Inn.
Much as I'd like to see this place come alive at night, I can't help but feel we've got a little bit of a duty to go back to Ordemar's place and check on the wee bairn.
That is a good point. He may need our help.
Even
Or
so,
he may
I
have
kind of
already
want to be
fit-
sure that the lad's okay.
Yeah,
Or
me
he
too,
may-
but what if he's already back? I don't. How long were you gone? Is it possible that he could be back? We could just look into the inn if Waldemar is waiting for us there and then go back?
Of course.
It would be best that we not move around too much for the time being. We can go look for him in the morning if he hasn't arrived.
I don't know, the lad didn't look all that clever to me. I'd rather be sure he's alright, you know.
I'm sure he'll be fine. There's little that we can do.
He seems like he can handle himself, from what I've observed.
You do not live in the wilds of Barovia for so long, it seems, without being able to take care of yourself.
I have to say, I'm not so much worried about Waldemar, but about his little boy.
Doesn't feel right to me to leave the wee lad suffering, you know. Even if there's not a lot we can do about it, it'd do well for me peace of mind.
Let's check for him and see if we can find him.
And if he's not here, we know where he lives. You can walk there. We still have 4 hours of daylight?
Of something.
Something?
I would rather not let this Rictavio out of our sight. If you wish, you can go and look for Waldemar. I will wait at the inn.
Okay.
Someone should wait just in case he does come back, so we don't miss each other.
Sounds like a plan.
Alrighty, so who is going to Voldemar's and who is going to the inn? Raise your
Let's
hand if you're going to the inn.
I
In
want-
first.
Check to see if Voldemort is there.
Okay, so okay, and then Finny, I imagine you're setting off to.
He will do. He'll head
Waldemar.
with them to the inn anyway, because I presume it's on the way to the city gates. But yeah, his plan is to go back.
Alrighty, cool. So you get to the Blue Water Inn. And you walk in, and it's the usual faces that you have already seen. Except this time, the innkeeper is talking to a rather beautiful raven-haired woman, and she sits in. She has a luxurious black feather trim to her cloak. She wears white and black leather and lace shirts and corsets and stuff. And when you enter, she notices, and Finny, she gives you a wink.
Finny.
Oh, hell yeah.
Finny offers a low whistle and just a really cheeky grin back. Now that's the kind of thing that comes out at night. This place might not be so bad, you know.
Would this woman be recognisable to a Barovian? To a townsman?
You have not seen this woman before, or not that you can recall.
Right. Okay. Straightforward.
Bear with me, I'm just reminding myself. So, Erwin, there we go. So, Erwin obviously sees your little exchange, and he places his hand on her shoulder and just kind of shoos her away into the back room, and they both disappear there.
Okay.
Rictavio then goes up to his room, upstairs.
So is Voldemort here?
You do not see him in the
Right now,
downstairs.
I'm stumbling through the gates, mumbling about people who have children without actually thinking about how to be a parent, and then their children cry because they move all the time.
Okay, so you're almost at the inn. Guys, you do not see him in the inn?
Well,
Right.
I can't see him, so maybe we should go to his house.
Aye, I'd keep the shades warm for me, eh?
Before we go to look for Waldemar at the house, I'd like to send a message. I would like to send a message to Rictavio, and I would like to say,
Pardon the intrusion, my new friend. We must look for our friend before we speak to you tonight. Unfortunately, it might take us a few minutes to return. I just wanted to let you know before we left.
I've had a fun time.
Had a fun time meeting you.
no.
Bear with me, I just need to look something up.
Sure.
Because Rictavio has something on his person. And I'm not sure that your message spell might have worked.
Okay.
So let me just check something quickly.
Wizards and their anti-spam spells.
Someone check his junk folder.
Let's hear a dial tone.
Okay, his number is protected by the TPS, and doing so results into a fine.
Right.
Gwydion is permanently blocked from wizarding messaging apps as for chain spam.
Yeah.
Oop, those are bells. Right. So Gerhardt's actually just going to take a seat. He's not going to go anywhere. He's going to keep things simple.
Finney's going to shoot a longing look at the door this raven-haired woman disappeared behind, and then sort of shrug it off and head back outside.
Okay, right. I have my answer. You get a sense that your message didn't go through. You are muted.
What,
You're
in
still muted.
the message?
Okay. In that case, I'm wondering if we have time to let him know where we're going first, or if we even need to. I'll actually just mention to Gerhard.
If Rictavio should ask where I went, please let him know that we went to look for our friend before speaking to him. I tried to send a message and no response.
Very well, I don't think your concern is too necessary. I don't think he will be going any, but I will keep an eye on him.
So, all right, he'll nod to you,
Thank you.
and then he'll head out the door with Finney or whoever's going.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Finney and Ella are standing outside. When it's
Okay.
done.
So,
My friends.
So Finney, you know your way around the wilderness better than we do, I think. Do you think you can find a way back to Waldemar's house?
Oh, for sure, no problem. Come on,
Oh.
on with me.
After you.
Then he'll take the lead, head back towards the city gates, and head out back to Waldemar's.
okay, so as you're walking down the main road of Valakii, I will share the map with those of you that are in Fantasy Grounds. You can see where the black scribble is, where the Blue Water Inn is, and obviously Voldemar's house is to the right, where the big squiggle is on the right before it says the Old Salovich Road. See that big main road there? As you're walking along it, and Voldemar, as you're like pelting it through there, you meet.
Oh, I was speaking to the devil. I mean, Strahd. I mean, Waldemar.
We were just going to look for you.
You okay,
How's
lad?
your
You look a bit
family?
out of breath.
You look flustered.
It's the damned Vistani. They are packing, and it is hard to see the children, which is why I'm here. I look at Ella as if the other two aren't exactly.
You're breaking up for me. I don't know if
Well,
same
Yeah, likewise.
others.
Wouldn't be fumbles and fame without the fumbles.
Yeah.
That's what they tell us.
sorry, it's the fantasy ground. Okay. Drink to that, everyone.
Yeah. So you were looking at me like no one else is there. And we're saying something and I didn't catch the last part.
Yeah, sorry. I look at Ella and say, I need your help with Bartosz. I cannot do the spell from the.
Oh, yeah, of course. Let's go to your house and I will use that scroll. Do I
Where is
know
the
how to
young
do
one?
it?
Was he eaten by Vistani?
The other one is in let's walk and talk, I say, and take your hand. Let's go to your kid. I tell you everything that you want to know. And maybe even more.
You are a good keeper of secrets.
Oh yeah, totally. And I tell you about how we found that little coin and then followed a trail through the forest. And then found out that Arabelle, that's the daughter of the Vistani leader, was taken by this drunkard old fisherman who wanted to sacrifice the child. And that Gerhard, believe it or not, let him just go, and gave him just a stern talking towards no other consequences. And we brought the girl back, and she told us so many great stories, interesting stories. I'm not sure if any of it is true, but if we can believe her, then there is this very big picture of the former bride of Strahd somewhere in something called Castle Ravenloft, which is the seat of power. And you have been living here so long, so I think you know where that is. And if that's true, and there is the study full of books and with the picture. And what was I talking about? Oh, yes, and then we brought her back. And they gave us the raven, and then we could go to the treasure room. And Gwydion wanted a pearl, but then we found this pearl necklace, and I raised it up. But he said there are too many, and then he looked for a ring, and so on and on and on.
You can see at certain points Gideon wants to jump in and add his input, but he can't get a word in edgewise.
You should even take a breath for that.
In the middle of your tale, roughly around where you tell about the drunkard fisherman who tried to kill a girl, Voldemort just starts vibrating with anger and his face turns red. And he doesn't really comprehend your tale about the treasures and the other stuff, because after he heard that Gerhard just let that man go, Voldemort just turns around and marches back into town and says, I need to kill that man. Then he turns
What
back.
about your son?
But
I said
Bartosz, then he turns again and says, but if the young one doesn't have the balls to kill him, it would be murder, then somebody else must do it. But then he turns back to look at the path to his house, and he's just caught in this loop of trying to decide what needs to be done first.
Let's first save lives, and then we can talk about killing others later, okay? So I grab your hand again, trying to tuck you in the direction of the hut.
Gideon will actually snap his fingers and make a popping sound, just a harmless pop, just to try to snap you to attention, just to get you out of that mode with prestidigitation.
I snap and say, you both are right. The ex is back home. We need to get there.
I look pretty worried at Gwydion.
We'll smooth this out in a bit.
Yeah.
I'm just hyper focused on the idea of an axe splitting that man's head right now.
Okay. Right, so you head off to Voldemort's house. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent, right? You are untroubled, but darkness is descending upon you quickly. By the time you arrive to Voldemort's house, there is only 2 hours of daylight left.
If it's pretty dark, I'm going to cast light on my bright red sash around my head so we can see our way. Maybe we can also be seen, but hey.
Finny mutters under his breath, now that's a nice silhouette if ever I saw one.
And it started to rain as well.
I'm pulling the hood over my head. Protect from the rain.
Okay.
Same
As you travel with the lights, mist starts to gather as it does, and in the distance you start to hear growling.
Oh, not again.
It's raining. Of course it starts.
I can hear. I think it's wolves again. I can hear something growling. I said, looking over my shoulder. Oh no, that sounds like the mist flare.
Sorry, that was a bit loud. Louder than I intended.
I thought you weren't going to do voices.
It feels like the mist flare's tongue is just like tickling my ear or something.
I have a spell that can cover our tracks and make us really, really, really stealthy. Maybe we should just sneak away in case it's really the creepy beast again.
Agreed.
Are you all in agreement?
Yes. Although Gideon will also take a rope out of his backpack while we're getting ready for that.
A rope?
He'll take a rope and hold it in his hands, yes.
I pull my cloak so that only part of the sash that is still glowing can be seen, and then I cast Pass Without a Trace on us.
Okay, so we have discussed group stealthing
Mhm.
earlier this week. How many of you are there? 1, 2, 3, 4 of you. I need you all to roll me a stealth check.
I invoke the blessing of my goddess, cast Pass Without a Trace,
Mhm.
and I still have Voldemar's hand, right? Or did you free your hand?
No, I probably didn't.
If you still hold my hand, then I'm giving you the blessing of the trickster, which gives you advantage on your stealth checks.
Ooh.
Oh, I rolled a 1, but I'm a lucky halfling.
I rolled 18
Okay,
with
so
the
we have an
advantage.
18.
Yeah.
Oh, I
23?
have 25.
Do we
my
all get
God.
advantage or just Voldemort?
Everyone gets plus 10, so I have 35 on stealth. And Voldemort has advantage because you
So
expand.
Pass Without the Trace, how it works on group stuff is it only gets added to the end.
Ooh, okay.
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 So,
10 to the
So I
end.
got a
Brilliant.
12. 12 altogether for me.
And I got a 23.
And 25 for me.
sorry.
I think you failed.
No, you didn't. That was just me clicking the wrong thing. So as you are starting to creep, you do slow down the rest of your journey, but the mist seems to dissipate, and you do believe that you are hidden, and that the creature may have lost your tracks by 8 points.
Smart call. That could have been bad.
Oh wow, without the password of the trace, you wouldn't have made it.
By the time they roll to Voldemar's place, Finney's going to be looking very, very pale, with a little bit of a tremble in his limbs.
Even Gideon's a little pale after hearing that growl again.
He's going to be like that one Vietnam veteran from every movie every time there's a fog.
When we arrive at Voldemar's store, Ella's going to say, "Ta-da! We made it safe and sound because the goddess was with us. Make sure to tell Gerhard that when we're back in town, because he was doubting that the goddess is still here."
If your goddess is so practical, I might consider worship. And I open the door for everyone to get inside.
Excellent. There is only an hour and a half of daylight left.
As soon as everyone gets inside, I begin using prestidigitation to dry their clothing so that they're not uncomfortable.
Okay.
And take the mud off and whatnot.
Oh, cheers, mate. You're a lifesaver.
OCD wizard.
Amazing. Thank you.
Oh, bow.
Imagine the feather in Finney's hat just fluffed straight back up.
Yeah, exactly.
I was trying to hang my coat over the fire, so I'm just perplexed at how it dried so quickly.
I can show you that trick sometime if you'd like.
Oh yeah, show me. I want to do that.
So you enter into the hut, and last time you were here, guys, this was completely bustling with life, and it was very active. This time it's a lot more solemn.
Okay.
I take Ella by the hand and pull her toward Bartosz's bed and pull out the scroll and say, "See, it says, 'Get the one who believes.' And clearly that is not me."
Aha! I look at the scroll. All right, so let's see, and I'm going to read it. As an acolyte of the Church of Yondala, do I know how to invoke the power in this scroll?
Yes,
So just
you
read
do.
it out loud.
So you read it, and it tells you the gestures and the words you must use, as well as what material goods. So you will need a something.
Mm-hmm.
I have a something.
Yeah, a something. Bear with me. I'm clearly not as prepared as I thought I was. Always the way. You always need something extra.
I have a player's hand guide as well if you ever need me to look up something while you're
Yeah.
doing stuff.
Yeah, is yours all like tab like mine?
No, that's awesome.
Stop showing your
But
DM
I-
superiority.
No, definitely.
It's unbecoming.
I just thought I'd offer.
Yeah, for your
Hashtag
DM,
Huffler.
your
I
DM
think
pissing
you're-
contest.
If it's the same as Greater Restoration, then we need diamond stuff.
Okay, and worth how much?
100
than I
gold
will-
coins.
More than I will
Okay.
get if I sell
That's
all
what I
of my
wanted to look up, thank you.
all of my other children.
Okay, so if you do not have diamond dust, then a sacrifice of something equal to 100 gold coins or 100 gold coins themselves would work.
Can you
I'll
haggle?
actually pull out my purse of coins and just pour the 100 gold on the table from my cut of that treasure.
Oh,
Use this, please.
okay.
I suspiciously look at Gwydion and say, I dislike being in debt.
You are not in debt. This was found, and I've been useless up to this point. Face it. Let me help, please. It's not a debt.
I meekly take the coins for Ella to use and say, I will find a way to thank you.
If you help us get out of here, then that is payment enough, right?
Simply know that you've helped us
Mhm.
plenty.
That is fair.
Okay, I prepare the space, put the gold down, take the scroll if in case I need anything else. I'm going to do that as well. Opening maybe the shirt sleeves and put them up, give myself space to work and do the right gestures. And do a quick prayer to my goddess. And then I start read and do the hand gestures and however the gold needs to be used in order to pass greater restoration on back.
Okay.
And beforehand, I tell the child, it's going to be all right. Okay, you see,
Yeah.
it's not scary at all. I'm just going to read this and you will feel much better later. I promise, okay?
Can I somehow assist Ella in spell casting? Like lend her my mana or something.
Let me try.
You can pray with me.
Okay, so since this spell is out of your spell limit, I need you to roll me a D100 for your success rate, please.
Oh, a D100.
And you can do it with advantage since Voldemar is assisting. So roll it twice and give me your highest.
Yeah. Okay, the first was 64 and the second was 93.
Okay. So,
I assist you for 10 points of religion.
And I rolled 18 on religion in case that matters. As I very studiously cite a prayer to the goddess of fertility and I mean, it works for halflings and children are just our size, so I just have that transfer. Oh, this is creepy.
What is inside my son? Oh my god.
so as you are casting the spell, obviously magical light and runes appear all over the room, and such a tiny hut is filled with bright lights, almost brighter than anything you've ever seen, Voldemar, in your long life. And as the light dims, you see that Bartosz breathing is now no longer as labored as it once was. He is still a little bit pale, but he seems to be better. His fever has resided.
Just to be sure, Gideon will examine the child just to see if he senses that curse still.
Yeah, and I will do the same.
16 total for my Arcana check.
And 17 for medicine, as I take his vitals.
15, sorry, 15.
I'm just on my son's bed, hugging him and trying to feel if the fever is going away.
Okay, so he, guys, that did all the checks. You either sense or feel that whatever had hold of this child has been broken, but it's not gone.
I rub my arm. I feel that the curse has been broken, but whatever put it on him might still be here. There's something evil close by.
I will trace a symbol over Bartosz's forehead and cast protection from good and evil on him. So if there are any good or evil creatures, rather, he'll be. I can tell you what that effect is. Just after hearing Ella, he thinks it would be safest to try that.
I rolled a 22 to see if I recall any new items in my house that I've gotten before Bartosz got sick, so I can round them up.
Isn't it weird that you gave that dog to the Vistani and in the same night the child got cursed? It was something that belonged to him, right?
Yes, it was. And as much as I hate being an enemy of a Vistani, I believe that there are things to be found out between us right now. So I look at the gathered people and said, if you do not wish to go to Mistress Eva with me now, I would understand. The night is getting dark.
I will come with you. I can conjure a light to light us the way. I'm not afraid.
I will as well, but might I suggest we still need Gerhardt's help? No killing, please. We need his assistance.
If you want no killing, you clearly need the young one. He eagerly let go a man who tried to murder a little girl.
I scared the devil out of him. He will not do such again easily.
I look out the window, trying to assess how dark it's getting, and I turn to Gwydion and say, then you may have stayed too long in your wizarding tower. The people have nothing stops their depravity.
He'll nod a little bit.
I can appear naive, but I see where you come from, yes.
I look at Finny and try to understand what he is doing right now.
While all this has been going on, I imagine Finny will have been at the window, keeping an eye out for any signs of the mist flare or anything else encroaching upon the area. I'm also going to say that he'll have spent time reaching out of his primeval awareness, just to try and ascertain if there's any beasts out there that are anywhere nearby, looking dangerous, anything like that. Anything particularly odd.
You sense some beasts fairly nearby.
Would I get a sense whether it's a mist flare or if it's just wolves, etc.?
It is a medium beast, and there are about 12 of them.
Okay, do they appear to be heading in any direction?
No, they seem to be quite still, surrounding the hut.
Right. Well, look, I don't like leaving the lad suffering like this, and there's not a whole lot I can do about it, but if you think getting the dog back from the Vistani would help, then I might be able to help there at least.
I'm good at retrieving stuff. Self-healing.
You never catch me admitting to it, but Finney's been known to have quick fingers from time to time.
Any assistance I may offer, of course, my magic is at your service.
Okay, so the protection from good and evil did work.
Mm-hmm.
Why you can feel like the curse has been broken and somewhat lifted. You do know that once the spell runs out, it will probably return.
And beads of sweat are starting to appear on Gideon's forehead, and you think he could probably only keep the spell up for so long. He seems to be concentrating despite conversing with you.
I think time is of the essence.
We should
How
wait for morning, but everything says otherwise.
how far is it to this camp that Madam Eva was at in relation to the city?
In relation to the city, it's quite far. In relation to Voldemar's house, it is not far, if you remember.
Okay, so we
correctly.
would be going out of his way to go and get Gerhardt, basically. But if we're going to do it, we might as well make a start sooner rather than later, eh?
If you believe we must get the young man, I will not protest. But I advise against it. For as long as Bartosz is suffering, I see no other option other than going right now.
And I think we would have to do the same way twice, right? We would have to walk first to the city and then back, and then to the right. It's like here's the vista. Yeah.
Yes, you are right.
I would love to have someone big and burly to hide behind, but he's not here, so let's save the child.
I look at one of my elder sons and contemplate. I say, Fabiusz, I need you to go and act like a protector of the small one, and I gesture toward Ella.
Your son obeys.
We're not planning on starting a fight, are we? I thought we were just going in, getting the thing here to note again.
Yeah, that's the idea, but you should always have a secondary plan in case things go south.
Very quickly in that area.
How many hours travel is it back to the town?
So if you were set off now, you would make it just before dark. It'll take you an hour to get to town.
And from town to the camp that we're going to, potentially?
2 hours and a half.
Okay. Look, if you like, I could go back for Gerhard. If you just want to get to the camp and wait for us to catch up with you.
Okay. You mean that we go to the camp and I try to get the dog, and in case things don't work out, you come and save me?
Well, I'd be quite happy to, but I trust your skill to get yourself out of trouble, or at least not get into it in the first place.
Is there any fireflies nearby in the mist or in the darkness?
No, you're not near
Okay.
water that suits fireflies.
Fun fact, there are no fireflies in Europe.
Yeah, I've never seen fireflies myself.
Look, I tell you what, I'll go back for Gerhard. If you want to get to the camp and scope it out a wee bit, make sure it's still there for one thing. And, try and get an eye on how attentive they are to small little people like me getting in there and getting out again without being spotted,
Okay. Okay. You go get Gerhard, and we go to the camp and scout it out and make sure maybe they are. Let's see if they're still there, right? So
Yes.
they are traveling people.
Considering the other...
I know what the duck looks like, I say, suddenly remembering I have locate object. So I could find it no matter where it is. If it's close enough to me, I mean. It has to be that. Yeah, but I could.
Finny stops with his hand on the door handle. Oh, well, that might help.
1,000 foot?
I think so. Wait a second.
You people are filled with helpful spells. Voldemar says with mild amusement.
That's because the Hin are practical people.
Also, we've been spending a long time trying to find a cure for hangovers. There's a lot of experimentation.
Pickle juice.
Oh, it's 30 feet. But I can keep it
I'm
up for
not sure
10
I'd want to
minutes.
try that.
Trust me, it cures all hangovers in less than a minute.
Then he starts writing this down on the back of his hand somewhere.
But I mean, I could sneak up to the campsite of the Vistani and then cast a spell to make sure that the object is still in there. And just sneak around. I can concentrate on the spell, and if I can't feel the little toy dog nearby, then we would know that it's no longer in there, right?
Might I add, Madame Ava is a seer, and she may expect us. It is entirely probable she expects us. Violence, last option. Let's use diplomacy.
Oh yeah.
I propose another plan.
Oh, go ahead.
We go together towards their camp, but I go to Madame Eva alone. I asked her directly if she had dared to use my payment against my son. And if something happens and I do not come out of her wagon, then you wait for Gerhard and try to make things right. That way we do not lose immediately.
That is a wise suggestion, but I worry for your safety, of course.
I am an old man. You do not get old in Barovia without knowing how to handle yourself, even when you are confronting a seer for the Vistani.
He'll nod at you and acknowledge.
I'm so evil. Yeah.
I wonder why she did it. Because yesterday she said that she wanted us to break the curse on this land, right? So why would she hurt your son?
Oh, I told you not to trust charlatans like her.
But she isn't a charlatan. She knew your name, and we are not from here, so how would she know that?
Oh, I don't know. Finny gets around.
But not to Barovia.
Well, maybe they came to Waterdeep for all I know. I mean, I'm a popular fella.
But
Anyway,
she didn't only know your name.
What
she
are you
knew
guys
everyone's
deciding
name.
to do?
Finny's still gearing up to go back after Gerhardt.
Okay. And you guys are determined to go to the Vistani camp.
Gideon thinks we should follow our Longmar plan.
Okay.
Yes, me too.
Right, so you guys all set off.
Finny gulps before heading off out into the distance. It looks a little bit smaller than usual.
And you guys head to the Vistani camp. I'm going to pause you there because we are going to jump to Blue Water Inn.
Yay!
Hi, Gerhard.
Gerhard, make sure his mic's switched on.
So what are you doing in the Blue Water Inn?
Also, he's just going to take a meal and just wait and pass the time. He's actually going to take the iron box he dug up from his home, and he basically pries the rusted bolts securing it, and lifts off the lid. And out of the box, he will take a very old, tattered tome. A book that looks... He's quite protective. He sort of looks around to see if anybody's watching him as he just slides the box to one side and just leaves the book in front of him, staring at it for quite some time.
Gerhard, I need you to roll me a straight D20, please.
$14.
All right. So you start studying this mysterious tome, and as you do, a little while passes, and a man enters the premises, and he is a man who you recognise. It is Father Lucian, the man who buried your wife and tried to console you religiously. As he enters the tavern, performs a symbol as he looks at all the drunken rabble around, and he spots you, Gerhardt. And he seems surprised, but also welcoming as he approaches you. And he says, Gerhardt, what is this? You quit the guard and now you're drinking your sorrows?
It's just water.
And,
He says, look into his mug. But he's actually going to close the book and just quickly, just kind of stuff it into his pack.
can you do me a sleight hand check, please? If you're trying to disguise it.
Why not? Let's see. That's Dex, isn't it? So it's 19.
Okay. The father simply raises his eyebrows, but he doesn't mention anything about it. And he says, since, and he leans in and he whispers to you so no one overhears. He's like, since you've left the city guard, who will be looking into that matter that I approached you with?
He
Did
sort
you
of,
hand it over to anyone?
he sort of looks at glances at him briefly, and he says, I'm no longer an investigator, Father. You had best find someone else.
Gerhardt, me and you have a history. Your wife rests in our graveyard. I made sure that she would rest as well as she could do, but without those bones, I cannot promise that she will remain undisturbed. Undisturbed. There's no one in this city I trust more than you, Gerhardt.
He looks a little forlorn for a moment and weary, and he says, I do not think my wife will rest either way, for us, certainly not as long as I will live.
Yes, well, that's all. And he sighs. It was messy business. But I don't know who I can trust. Very few people knew about the bones.
He sort of looks distant for a moment, as if he's lost in memory, and he says, You need a better man than I, Father. Sophia needs a better man than I.
Better men are made by deeds, Gerhardt. Despite past transgressions, there's always an open path, especially with the mourning father. You know where I am if you need me. And he leaves.
Okay. That's it. He's just going to carry on just sitting there sullenly and broodingly.
Alrighty. We are going to go back to our Vistani hunters. Vistani
Yay.
hunters.
It's like a crappy YouTube TV show.
It's definitely some kind of sitcom. Yeah.
I don't know if I should be insulted or like pleased.
Why would
We'll
you
get
be
to work on a
insulted
laugh
that we are
track.
Vistani hunters. It does not take you long to get to the Vistani camp. As you remember, you were heading to Voldemar's house when you kind of stumbled, was guided towards it. And when you get there, the camp is gone.
Oh no.
I spit on the ground and would put my stole over it, trying to angrily locate the tracks to see where they may have gone.
Yeah.
So that's very easy. The tracks are somewhat fresh, and they have headed south through the Savalich woods, and it looks like they're heading to Mount Garkis.
To the mountains they go. Poor sods. I spit on the ground again.
Are the mountains dangerous here?
Yes, among other things, they may die because, I don't know, a bear tried to sneak past them and try their food, or them. But we need to find that woman.
Yes. Should we follow the tracks?
It's
We
raining,
should.
but
I mean, they have wagons and we are on foot, so chances are good that we can close in on them, right? They must be very slow.
They will be slower, but what I'm afraid is that they also go a lot quicker than we are on foot.
Hmm. So what do you suggest? Should we wait for the others and then try this tomorrow, or?
I'm gonna roll a d20 on making good decisions.
I love to do that in real life.
I rolled a natural 20 though, so I'm gonna leave it.
So you're good at making.
I look over.
Natural 20!
Yay! Woohoo!
I look over the others and say, this trek may take several days, and we are without provisions. We are unprepared to go. So what I'm suggesting is that I go after them and leave you marks by which to find clear ones, not like tracks in the mud. And you go back to my house to wait for the Phineas and the Gerhard.
Well,
And
they will
together-
come here, right? They won't come to your house. We told them to meet us here. So we just have to wait for them to catch up to us.
Maybe that would be best.
Mhm.
Then I will be gathering supplies to give them chase, because chasing Vistani on an empty stomach is never a funny task.
I'm rummaging around in my backpack. I have rations in there somewhere. I know it because I have all my stuff with me and I was prepared to go and cover an artifact. Haha! Here they are. Rations
You
for
will-
10 days.
You will do better once you start thinking about other people who may not live off your rations.
Maybe. But it's a start. As in, look crestfallen at my rations.
Plus, they're also halfling rations.
Yeah,
So they're very
just-
hardy.
they're-
I have been
Small.
eating mine and Gerhard's lunch when we were last in the inn.
they're like salted peanuts and other beer snacks for humans.
It's just lollipops and cookies.
Okay, guys. So you're going to wait here for Finny and Gerhard to catch up to you.
Yeah, and I'm gonna look around and try to gather as many supplies as I can, like berries, herbs, maybe set up a small trap for small animals.
Okay, and you only have an hour of daylight left, even though Waldemar, nighttime is death.
Yes.
Okay. We're just going to jump to Finny. Finny, what are you doing?
Stealthing his way home, or back to the town at least.
I see. By the time you get back to town, so you set off immediately. Okay, you have an hour and a half left of daylight. You manage to get to town undisturbed, although you're constantly looking over your shoulder. Occasionally you think you hear a howl of a wolf, or maybe you've spotted one which hurries you on your way. But, you know, it's pretty uneventful apart from stepping on twigs and being scared of your own shadow. So you get to town, you're going to head to the inn.
Yeah, I'm going to make my way through the streets, head back to the inn as fast as possible. As soon as I'm actually in town, I'm going to use my halfling nimbleness to jump in between the crowd and actually put some speed on. So I'm going to leg it.
Okay. Excuse me. Want to take some drugs?
By session 10, we're all just like snorting cocaine and doing math.
Stay in school, kids. Don't do drugs.
Well, it's
Don't
just
like
like
D&D.
Unless you're playing D&D.
It's just it's a Sudafed. You know, clearing out my nose so I don't sound so mucusy. Oh, I have a phone call. Finny, go get Gerhardt and
So Finny throws open the entrance to the inn and immediately looks around. I imagine he wouldn't have too much trouble spotting Gerhardt. You can still hear you, love.
Oh, he hung up anyway.
Okay. So yeah, I imagine you wouldn't have too much trouble spotting Gerhardt, and he's going to zip over. Right, laddie, we've got work to do. You need it. Come on.
Gerhardt just looks down, so he says, "What of Rictavio?"
What about him? He's not going anywhere, is he?
There's only one way to be certain.
Well, we've got kind of a bit to do. The whole business with the lad didn't go quite so well. The guys are busy trying to find the Vistani, you know, the one that get all the big fortune-telling business, all the line and everything. We kind of need you to be there.
He sort of looks a little bit. Also a little bit. He sort of lets out a bit of an annoyed huff of breath at the distraction, but he looks to Owen, the barkeep, and he says, "Owen, would you please pass along a message to Rictavio? Inform him that we will be delayed, and ask him if he would not to leave for the time being. We should be no more than a day."
So you think. He nods in agreement.
Excellent. So and Gerhardt just gets geared up, ready to follow Finny.
Right, and just to tip you off as well, the old fella's not your greatest fan. I think we've all kind of picked up on that. But he's been talking about going and getting his axe and burying it in unmentionable places with yourself. So, for the love of God, I don't know, placate the man. Or avoid him. Something.
He just looks, he just raises his eyebrows in surprise and says, "It seems I do not need to be a guard to rattle the old man."
No, I think he got a bit of a chip on his shoulder, to be perfectly honest. But I kind of get where he's coming from. But I tell you about it on the way. We've got to move.
He sort of shrugs and follows.
All right, and I'm going to lead the way back to the Vistani camp.
Okay. It takes you an hour, and by the time that you are all reunited, there is only 30 minutes of daylight left. And thus I'm going to change the music.
Might I add, what a terrible night to have a curse.
Finny, meanwhile, is going to burst out of some trees across the clearing from you guys. I got him. I got the lad. And looking a little bit out of breath.
As you can see, I say and point at the Vistani camp. They have already gone.
Any idea where?
Oh, there's a track. Look, so many Vardo wagons.
Oh, yeah, they weren't trying to hide where they were going.
Nope.
I rolled an 11 to construct a very small tent for the halflings, and I also rolled a 19 on gathering supplies to give chase.
Okay. You capture, coming up, 2 small rabbits, some mushrooms, some wild roots. That's it.
I'll make a stew.
I'm especially proud of the mushrooms that I caught.
Myconids or
Or something a little bit more medicinal.
420 plays it.
We're going to start seeing mist flayers everywhere by the end of the night, aren't we?
We're gonna become the mist players.
Chasing the mist flyer. That's a new expression.
New hot game for the kids in Barovia.
Oh dear. Right.
So-
well, if there's a camp,
There are creepies around us.
So what's the plan? Are we staying here? Are we going after them?
I'm not the only one hearing that, am I?
I hear it as well. That's up to you.
I grab onto Gwydian's hand and say, "Don't go anywhere. Those things, they try to lure people in, and they don't come back." And right now, I'm just talking on like dumb folk tales that I've heard since I was a boy.
shivers run down his spine regardless.
Finney's going to put his back to a nearby tree and try and hide himself whilst trying to spot whatever this thing is.
either way, it is never wise to travel at night. Perhaps we should camp for the evening. I will keep first watch.
Okay.
I will take the second.
Here's me looking for a nice, like, quiet, easy evening. No.
Do you reckon it's safe to be out at night in this place?
No.
Oh, good. I feel miles better. Why aren't we going back to the house?
Because going through the woods would be even worse for you. For you specifically.
Right. Right, yes, because now the trees hit me as well.
Perhaps one of your songs will lighten the mood, he says to Finney. And eye in the pipe.
Not a chance, laddie. Not out here, not with that thing lurking in the woods, or God knows whatever all else. If it's all the same to you, I'm going to sit here, be very quiet, and try and get unnoticed.
Are you capable? Are you even capable of that? He asks with a smile.
Finney holds up a hand, and as he says that, he begins delving into his pouch and pulling out a different outfit. And it's a mix of very drab colours. It's grey, black trousers. It's designed to blend into the dusk very easily.
You almost look like a Barovian, my friend.
Don't expect me to start acting like one.
Give
Got
it
a bunch of
time.
miserable sods, and that's no mistake.
Spoken like a true Barovian.
Even I feel a little more Barovian.
And he's looking down at his grey cloak that he took from your closet and his plain clothes that he's not used to wearing.
Do you think it would be safe to light a fire, or would that be ill-advised?
He'll ask that to Gerhardt and Voldemort.
If you do not, we would likely freeze to death in this rain. If you feel you can light one, then that would be best.
Oh, of course, we could use the tinder box that I have, or I could, if you have brush gathered, I can use a spell.
Magic.
I take it as raining, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so guys just kind of got to look around him, and they said, like, probably none that would be of any use.
But he has magic. He can try it.
Yes, I could try.
Right.
That shouldn't be a problem. We would just need to cover it after it's dry.
Are ignited.
Finnegan, Gal looks down to Finney, and he says, "Come then, Finnegan, I will need your help."
What do you want me to do now?
Gather firewood.
Who is Finnegan?
It's one of many names. It's generally more referred to as Phineas, but Finnegan's okay too.
Sorry, I thought it was Finnegan. All this time I thought it was Finnegan. I thought it was Phineas.
Finny
Right,
lifts
all
up
this time
the
I've been calling
hand
him
and looks you
Phineas,
dead
then.
in the eyes. You say that. It's Phineas, Finnegan, Finbad, Fingate, Maguire, I have you know.
Maguire it is then.
You talk too fast for anyone to understand.
That's just a halfling way.
Not just me.
That's right.
Right, so firewood then, eh?
Yeah, and they
Have you an axe?
Sorry, Gerard's just kind of places a hand on his sword, and he just strides off.
Right, Finny follows on, starts looking around for that, and while he's at it, he's probably going to do a bit of foraging for food as well, if they're going to be spending time there.
Oh no, he's gonna poison us all.
I'm sitting in the little tent that Voldemort made for the hin, munching on one of my rations, waiting for them to gather the firewood. And I recast light on myself, so I'm sitting there with this ominous glow around my waist.
And just eating. Just
Now and
Like
then
little
looking up at the sky when thunder is rolling through.
like a hamster, she's just like holed up and, and munching.
I started to feel like a drowned rat.
As you're settling down for camp, you notice that the rain gets heavier and the tracks that you are camping nearby are fading and are being washed away.
That's what I was afraid of.
Oh no!
But you can... Oh no, I'm foraging. Ignore me.
I'm gonna try to roll to still detect the tracks after the rain. Is it gonna be survival or nature check?
I will accept either.
It actually doesn't matter because I have +3 on both, and I rolled a 12.
Okay. And what are you trying to determine whether or not they'll be there in the morning?
I'm trying to see if I can read them as a training, as it's being washed off, or if I should give chase right now.
Unfortunately, with your limited survival knowledge, you are unable to determine whether or not it will be a good idea to give chase now or to leave it.
God damn it.
While I'm sitting there eating, I watch Voldemort do whatever he's doing there, trying to understand it. And if Gwydion is close by, I say, that's why I prefer hunting artifacts and stuff. They don't run away from you unless someone else got them first, and then you have to chase them. But normally they are just sitting nice and quiet in the tomb. The worst thing is maybe a trap or something that breaks down under your feet or something. But this is just, I don't know. I prefer artifact.
I'm not great at tracking myself, so I have to rely on Voldemort's expertise here.
Yeah, me too.
Now, this rain, though, quite heavy.
Oh, yes.
Kind of, ironically, he's like hunched into the very tiny tent that was Finny's while Finny is out.
That's 20.
Well,
I feel like-
sorry, go.
I feel like I should be like live recording me throwing my dice, just to prove that I'm not fumbling with it, because this is unnatural. For me.
I just rolled a nat 20. I was just rolling for fun. That was a
I
2.
shit you not, I just did the same thing.
Oh,
Roll 20 as
freaky!
well. I'm not going to roll because I will need that 20 later.
Okay, guys, you settling down for the night?
Once we've got some firewood, I would imagine.
Yeah,
Finney will also
so
do a bit of foraging while he's at it, see what he can pick up.
Okay. I mean,
So Waldemar is actually, once Gerhard takes his watch and everyone else is asleep, he's gonna tap Gerhard on the shoulder and say, "I shall give chase before the tracks are completely destroyed."
Gerhard nods stiffly. He seems to understand right away.
I tear part of my cloak off and say, "Look for strips of this on the branches. I will leave marks for you to follow."
He again nods and he says, "Good luck."
I walk about 20 meters away before turning and looking at Gerhard and say, "And when you see the drunkard fisherman again, I want his head on your sword right away." And I continue walking.
as you begin to walk, the mist starts to close in.
I cast levitate on myself and try to speed up the process of trekking.
And as you know, in this, the way things are in Barovia, the more determined you are, the more determined it seems to be to hinder you.
Of course,
So much that is starting to obscure the ground.
I levitate 5 feet closer to it.
Oh, it's calling the DM's bluff here. That's never good.
Do me a survival check, please.
Survival +3, and it's an 8. I die. Face planting into the earth.
You start to hear the sound of galloping hooves.
I tense up and try to understand where the sound is coming from.
It's coming towards you along the path that you are following. Through the mist comes a skeletal warhorse and a rider, both clad in ruined chainmail. The skeletal rider holds up a rusted lantern that sheds no light.
Oh shit. I think I know what it is, but Waldemar is going to freeze for a moment.
Okay? So it's about 100 foot away from you and continues to ride in a manic and panicked way, the horse itself. And as you do not disturb it, it does not disturb you and continues on its way towards the others.
I wait for the whole thing to pass before I continue my movement.
Okay, we are just going to go back to the others. So as you guys have been camping, the mist has descended, and it seemed to descend quickly as Voldemar left. And you hear the sound of galloping hooves. So are the others alive? Alive? Freudian slip! Are the others awake, or is it just you, Gerhard, holding?
I'm assuming how long's passed?
So Voldemar's only probably about 10 minutes away because the mist is hindering his speed.
Gerhard's definitely up. I'm not sure how quickly, if the others would have gotten to sleep by then.
Ella and Gideon were chatting, so I doubt they'd be sleeping quite yet, but...
Okay. Well, you hear the sound of galloping hooves.
All right, Gerhard's going to put a hand on the hilt of his sword and rush to the edge of the camp, and he's going to cry, "Approaching rider!"
We didn't have a fire yet, did we? So...
I jump up and hide behind the next tree and get my weapons ready in case it's a hostile incoming.
If we didn't have a fire, I imagine Finney will still have been on the outskirts collecting firewood. So as he hears this shout, he'll just drop what he's got, and out will come the bow and the arrow on the string, and he'll be looking towards the direction the sound's coming from.
Gideon quickly says,
My dear, you are still shining brightly behind that tree.
No, I douse the light on my sash and pull my hood up, and I stealth for 23, so I'm just.
"Then I did not say that."
Through the mist comes a skeletal warhorse and a rider. They are both wearing ruined chainmail. The rider holds a rusted lantern that bears no light.
Gout just kind of he's sunk to the side of just at the side of the road, and he just motions to the others, puts a hand up, as if to say, like, don't do anything, just wait.
Finney, meanwhile, is hiding against this tree, but he's sighting very accurately on this horse as it goes.
The rider had no head, right? Have I heard it right?
No, the rider has a head.
Yeah, he has a head. Okay,
Yeah, he
that's
has
not
a
just
head.
my imagination running wild.
Next time I see Ella, she's gonna tell me like how 10 headless horsemen tried to chase her around that camp.
Right?
Oh,
What's
yes.
it called? Ichabod Crane?
Oh, yeah.
As the rider approaches you, you do not disturb him. He does not disturb you and rides on.
As soon as he's out of sight, Gideon's going to visibly droop, like, and let out a deep breath, and
What was that?
he'll whisper to Gerhardt.
Would that be familiar to Gerhardt?
Yeah, you've heard there are legends of a of a rider that tried to escape through the mists, and now they are cursed for all eternity to ride the roads of Barovia, trying to find a way out.
He just still sort of looking in the direction that the rider's ridden, just says, "That is what becomes of those who try to leave Barovia unbidden."
And any last shreds that Gideon wasn't taking this completely seriously, and about how trapped they are, disappear, and he's just looking down, dark look on his face, just thinking.
Ella is staring in the direction where the horseman disappeared and looks worried.
Finney will put his bow away, and as Gerhardt explains what this thing is, he'll just reach into a small pocket that he's got hidden away, pull out a flask, neck a quick shot of whatever's in it, and then stash it again. I hate this place.
This is getting creepier by the minute.
Since nobody's brought it up yet, Gerhardt's going to explain. Voldemar has moved on. He wanted to follow the tracks before they were washed away by this rain. He holds up a scrap of cloth and he says he will leave a trail for us to follow, but I'm concerned for him.
After all that talk about going out alone and in the mist, and then that thing, and you let him go.
I mean, there was no mist, right?
It didn't seem to harm us either.
He just sort of stares off in the direction Voldemar's gone for a moment and sort of sniffs, and he says, "The old man knows what he's doing. We will need our rest if we are to follow."
Okay.
Finney, my boy, did you find anything?
I got some sticks, and I don't know what the foraging was. We find anything on the food front?
Oh, Waldemar found, and I pull up the skinned rabbits. He found this. We just need firewood, right?
Well, Finney was doing a bit of foraging of his own, but I never got to hear what the result was of it.
What did you roll me?
Got a 22 survival.
Okay, you find some fruits and some berries.
Okay, so I'll come back with that and the firewood that looks damp. It's the best I can do in this weather. There's not much I can...
Oh, no trouble at all.
He'll receive
I
that
look
from you.
expectantly at Vidian.
Well, rather than hand it over, Finney's actually going to start setting the fire himself.
Oh, okay.
Prepping it up. Again, it's going to take... I imagine it's going to take a bit of effort to get this to light.
but Vidian
He'll
can do
swirl his
magic.
finger. Yeah, he'll swirl his finger and dry off the wood for you as he sees you trying to light it with your tinderbox.
Oh! I'm better than I thought I was. This is... It catches fire immediately.
Gerhardt's just going to plonk himself down again and still look alert, but he's going to be quite near the fire.
Right, where's those rabbits?
Oh, they're here.
Finney pulls out... Well, Finney reaches into his pack and fills out a small cooking pot. Manages to rig it up, set it across the fire, and sets about skinning the rabbits, and seems to be preparing a meal of some sort.
Oh, one moment, my boy.
And I will actually use prestidigitation to remove any scent from the rabbit, blood or the cooking scents. I'll keep it. Because
No,
with
cooking
misfires
first.
and beasts.
Finney will look a little bit confused. What have you done now? What have you done to it?
Oh, we don't want to attract anything other than us that wants that food, you know.
But how am I supposed to tell if it's cooked right? I can't smell the flavour.
I'll take care of the flavor as well, no worry.
No. No magic trickery when it comes to the food, alright? Oh, God.
He'll wave his hand and dismiss it then.
Finney stops mid-sentence and just sort of shrinks down behind the pot.
Gerhardt springs to his feet again.
What the hell? What's going on? I look at Gerhard.
Finney's casually just quickly kicking the fire out underneath this...
Oh,
We need to move.
I'll prestidigitation the fire out.
Ella sitting in the dark, confused. What's going on?
It's near. We need to move now.
Okay.
He sort of starts walking forward in the direction Waldemar went.
Oh, now I had it as well.
But sort of slowly, he wants to make sure the others get ahead of him.
Okay. I grab my stuff and follow. I was so preoccupied with the rabbit, I didn't notice. I whisper.
Is that? Can we tell if that is snoring? Or am I mishearing that?
That's wishful thinking.
Oh, wait a second. I say, let's stealth. And I cast Pass Without a Trace again. Let's sneak away. You're looking at me like I'm crazy, but hey, we want to get away from this thing, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm absolutely fine with that.
If we should need a quick escape, I will signal, and I have a trick up my sleeve, so to speak.
Okay.
There is no quicker escape than getting moving. Now,
I touch Gerhard and give him the blessing of the trickster.
Okay, so you guys going to try and group sneak away?
mhm.
I think so, yes. So Gerhard has advantage and the rest we all get plus 10 at the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have advantage.
23.
22.
17. Thank you, Ella. Actually, that's my first roll, so I'm quite lucky.
Gideon?
12.
-5.
That's 12. Oh, yours was, or?
But Waldemar is not here, right? You are following him.
It's only times 4. As you begin to move, then the blessing of the goddess follows you. The hissing and the growls and the lack of light, the noises dissipate. You feel that you have successfully managed to get away quite quickly. Valdemar, back to you. So you have by now been moving for about 20 minutes, and you have been leaving little rips of cloth as you go along the path. However, as you head towards the mountains, these tracks are fading so quickly, they're almost gone. And you need to remember that you saw Madame Eva almost 2 days ago. So these tracks could be almost 2 days old.
I curse myself for hesitating for so long, and I continue trying to track down the cards and Madame Eva. And I roll a 21 to read the tracks.
Okay. And what do you want to know about the tracks?
I want to see in which direction they go, in case I don't find them more, so I have a chance to figure out which road they may have taken, which path they might want to use.
Okay. So you know that they are heading down to Solenka Pass. They're heading south towards Solenka Pass, and it looks like they're heading straight in to the heart of Mount Garkis. At the moment, you are about halfway through Salovich Woods.
I take a moment to think what I should do. And I'm gonna roll to make a balanced decision because this has never failed me yet. And I rolled a 5. So I rip my cloak in half and tie the cloth to the nearest branch and think about how the small ones are gonna follow me, and I continue through with the tracks. Outside the woods, if I make it, is gonna be safer than in the middle.
Okay. And you continue on your way. What are you other guys doing? Muted?
Sorry.
Following. I tried to
unless-
keep.
Unless anybody's going to object, Gerhardt's just going to lead them in the way Waldemar's gone.
I got to
Following his
say,
trail.
that was my first time trying to camp in the woods, and I can't say I'm of all that fond of the experience.
No time for rest tonight, it seems. Yet, at least.
Might be for the best. Look, you want me to take the lead? I might be able to do a bit better following the tracks and,
Do you think
catching
it's
up to
safe
do that.
if I cast light again to make it easier to follow the track?
Gerhardt's going to just again hold out the strip of cloth, and he says, "If you wish, although he has not made himself difficult to follow."
Okay.
Save those threads so that I can mend his cloak, will you?
At that, Gerhardt's going to just at least crack a very slight grin.
I think I would feel better with the light, and I touch the piece of cloth and cast light on it, so you now have a glowing piece of cloth in your hand.
Gerhardt's just going to kind of look at it and go like, "Okay."
I can't see it being a problem as long as we, extinguish it if that thing
I can
turns up
think of
again.
it like that, and I snap, and the light goes out, and then I touch it again and let it glow.
Come, if we hurry, then we may be able to catch up to him.
Okay.
Okay, guys, I need you to roll to see if you catch up with Voldemar.
What do you like us to roll?
I would like you all to roll me survival checks.
Sure.
I actually did good on this one.
I rolled a 1 again. That's halfling luck. Let's me re-roll.
Roll a 6.
11.
I
I got a
rolled,
dirty 20.
I rolled a booby 20 as well.
So again, you have all successfully, even though Voldemar has 30 minutes on you, you push yourselves harder than you've ever known, and you are following the bits of ripped cloth, thank you, and get up together. But you're now on the edge of the Salovich Woods, heading towards Cold Senka Pass. And on the road, a figure walks alone with a stride and bearing of one that knows no fear. Clad in rusty armour, it clutches a gleaming long sword in its pale hand and looks ready from a fight. And just with that, we're going to take a break.
Yay!
Oh,
Yay.
That's much more time.
the cliffhanger.
Oh yes.
Just what we need.
I'm going to look if Pass Without a Trace is still up, because that...
It's an hour, right?
I think so, yes.
Memory serves me. That's right.
Yes,
I'll
up to an hour.
get out. We'll see you shortly, guys.
See you in a bit.
Look for trick to
And we're back.
Hi, everyone. I'm waving like this until I can see that the stream's actually up.
It's up.
Yeah, it's
There we
up.
go.
Up. Yay. Awesome. You're watching Fumbles and Fame. Curse of Strahd. I am DM Goths and Gadgets, otherwise known as Leonie. I've just spent the last 15 minutes yelling at my players for ruining 8 hours worth of prep by going off on a wild tangent. But you know, that's what the fun of Dungeons and Dragons. You never know where it's going to go, so always be prepared for anything. And so I learned a lesson today, and I hope you did too. Just before we broke up, last session, Voldemort's son was very sick under a curse. They got a scroll of greater restoration that slightly lifted the curse. And our characters realised that maybe the Vistani cast this curse because they gave Voldemort's son's dog toy to Madame Eva in exchange for a reading. And so Voldemort, filled with zeal and valor, decided to give chase, but it was raining and they are losing the tracks and it's night and none of them have dark vision and none of them has rested. And they encountered a skeletal rider who passed them on their way. Every time they light, the mist flayer comes. And just before we went on our break, a shambling corpse was heading towards them, wielding a longsword and looking like it wants to fight. So yeah, that is where we are. Axel.
Yay!
So the group's caught up to Voldemar now.
Mm-hmm.
I assume. Is he going to be? Is he surprised to see everybody's here now all of a sudden?
I am very surprised because I was convinced that you will be resting in your camp, and I mouth at you, "What are you doing?"
Gard sort of strides up to him with his eyes on the skeletal warrior, and he just said, "The mist flayer caught us. The mist flayer caught our scent. We had to move."
They have no nose. How did they catch your scent? You lit up a fire, didn't you?
He looks back to the others slightly, and he just says, "It doesn't matter. We're here now."
There's little time. And Gideon's unwinding the rope from his pack again, and he's stringing it out, and he's pulling out a powder and a string of scroll, and he's beginning to cast a spell.
Ella is standing there, pointing at the trampling corpses. Is no one concerned about this?
Finny, meanwhile, seems to have disappeared from sight.
I'm on it, my dear.
And the rope raises into the air and disappears. And I cast Rope Trick, which creates a space with an invisible entrance to it's an extra dimensional space that lasts until the spell ends, which is 1 hour. The extra dimensional space can be reached by climbing to the top of the rope. It can hold as many as 8 medium or smaller creatures, and the rope can be pulled up, making the rope disappear from view from the outside. So Gideon will
Hurry, up the rope, climb. In you go.
Gerhart's just going to look at the rope, and he just looks at Voldemar and he says, "Are you sure this is the right way?"
Yes, they're heading to Selenka Pass towards the mountain. They are halfway through.
And that thing is blocking our path.
If you
Gideon
think that
starts
is blocking,
climbing.
it's just one corpse.
I would like to climb the rope.
As you do, the creature's about 60 foot away now.
Is it advancing?
It is advancing. And it sees you, although you can't really see it very well, because it's dark. You don't have dark vision.
Oh, okay. I'm not doing any of that.
I've rolled a dirty 20 to hide in the underbrush.
So is the rope trick up or not?
I don't think I would see it coming, would I? If I can't see it coming, I wouldn't do that.
You would see it from the distance because it's like lit up by the moon.
Okay, then yes.
Gerhard draws his sword, and he just does this. He just, do we advance or turn back?
We'll be safe up here.
Quick, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock.
Um,
Presses.
If I make it to the top, you would see me disappear at the top of the rope.
Yeah.
ooh, I say, looking. I climb after him because that intrigues me now.
Okay.
Gerhard's just waiting for the others. He's keeping his eye on the skeleton and his sword
It's now
raised.
30 foot away.
I'm still waiting. I'm standing on the ground and I'm preparing.
We're doomed.
Is everyone climbing the rope, or are there still people outside?
Yeah, still Finny and Voldemar. Gerhard's not going to move.
Oh, I'm distracted.
I'm poking my head out of the. This is an extra dimensional space or something, right?
There is a window that you could poke your head out of. Yep.
Okay, I'm poking my head out. Get your stubborn asses up here now!
Where's Finny?
It's safe. Come
You're
on.
done.
There's he.
Or say things.
There's bean bags to sit on.
Did you hear that?
It's 20 foot away.
Gerhard's going to just sort of growl in frustration, whip his sword away, and start climbing. And he's actually going to try and make a grab for Voldemar as if to try and sort of yank him towards the rope.
I try to move my shoulder out of the way as I try to cast Magic Missile.
You're attacking it?
Yep.
No, attack it.
Oh no.
What do I roll?
What does Magic Missile say?
You don't
you-
roll anything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just rolling damage on a D4, I believe.
Okay.
I think it's 3d4, right? It's
Mhm.
3 bolts.
Yeah.
Mm.
+1 force damage. It's
Okay.
so I rolled a 4. 4, 3, and 3. So it's 13 damage altogether. And of course, I'm directing it strictly to the corpse that's trying to moonwalk its way towards me.
Okay. 1 hits its shoulder. 2 hits its shoulder. 3 hits it in the center of its chest. And it stumbles and braces itself on its sword. It lifts its head towards you. And its sunken eyes grow red hot coal embers, and you can feel its hatred burning down on you. It speaks out and says, I knew it. Allies of Strahd are only cowards. Before it charges the rest of the 20 foot towards you, Voldemar, and it swings. Oh, my mouse is gone all weird. With its long sword. For a 21.
It hits, but am I still floating? That's the question.
Oh yes. You're still levitating.
Yeah, I'm still
But
levitating.
you were 5 foot near the ground. So it's got a 5 foot.
I
you came
lowered
down to the
5
ground,
feet towards the ground, so it means that I'm 15 feet off the ground.
Okay. Right. Yeah, because I thought you were 5 foot near the thing. Okay, it does not. Very well then.
I'm just yelling at it that Allies of Strahd, you're the one who's a shambling corpse trying to attack night travelers.
I need you to take I need to make you make a wisdom saving throw, please.
Oh no. Dirty 20.
Okay, you are perfectly fine, but it turns its vengeful glare upon you, and you get a sense that it is made a solemn oath of vengeance against you. Although
he's not the
you
first
don't feel any effects. Gerhard, you're on the ground, aren't you?
He was starting to. He started to climb the rubber. Yeah, I can see he'd only put a foot up on it, but I guess he's down the ground now. So is it directly? Is it still? Is it directly in front of him? I take it.
Yep.
Okay.
Below him, in front of him.
Okay. He's actually going to. Oh, that sounds scary now. He's seeing that it's obviously attacked his friend. He's going to hesitate slightly, but then he's actually going to 2 moments. He's actually going to close his eyes and raise his sword hand, but instead of swinging his sword, he appears to whisper and close his eyes, whispers strange syllables, and he's going to cast Chill Touch on the creature.
I look amused at Gerhard and say, since when do you cast spells?
Yeah, right, so ranged attack, spell attack. Oh, 18.
Hits.
Takes 1d8. Right,
Describe what you're doing, please.
I've just described it. So anyway, sorry. Okay.
You're casting field touch. So what are you touching?
So a ghostly skeletal hand reaches up and clasps itself to the creature's shoulder, and that will be a 1d8. If I can find the right one. 7 necrotic damage, and also it's undead. Obviously. It's got disadvantage of It's got a disadvantage on its attack turns against me.
Okay.
So
It did as the chill touch schedule hand grasps it. Ice seems to permeate its undead flesh, yet no damage is done to the creature.
That's fine. Okay, that was a 1 action, wasn't it? Yeah, and what you'll actually right, you'll actually take a bonus action and expend a superiority dice, which is a D8. And he will perform a command. He will do perform a commander strike, and at which he'll just basically shout. He'll just shout, "Maguire, fire now!" And the bonus action will allow Finney to make a shot with his bow if he has it ready.
You better believe he does.
And you also get a +2 to your attack roll.
Okay.
Finney's not up there in the rope trick with us, is he?
No, he's hiding in
No,
the
he's not.
bushes.
Okay.
So
Sniper.
+2, right? That's
Yes, his attack roll.
24 to hit.
So you pull your bow, you let it loose,
8 points of
And it
damage.
it plants itself into the shoulder of the undead creature that is firing on you. The creature takes hold of the arrow and pulls it out. It knows where you are now, though.
Okay, doke. Do I get my actions proper outside of his?
I do believe
Command.
it's part of your action.
How does it work, that maneuver thing?
Yeah, it's in your turn. As
Okay.
an action, you get a +2. So that was your action.
Okay, I'd have done things a bit differently, but never mind, no problem. I'm going to retroactively cast Hunter's Mark upon it and leave it at that.
The creature, how close it is it to us in the in this extra dimensional space on top of the rope?
Guardian, how high does your rope go?
I didn't. It's a 50-foot rope, but I don't think I would use all 50 feet. Probably
So
10
how high
feet.
is it? Okay.
So how far away is it? Is it within 30 feet of us?
Yeah, so if you're 10 feet in the air, it is 10 feet below you.
Okay, so I'm hanging out of the out of the space, holding up my holy symbol, and I yell down, "Hey, ugly! Leave my friends alone!" And I cast Turn Undead. So my holy symbol starts to emit this burst of divine power that illuminates the surroundings. And I also yell, "We are not allies of Strahd. In fact, we are here to put an end to his reign of terror and free this land from the curse." And I rolled 25 on persuasion.
Ooh.
Not sure if it's aided or hindered by the turn undead.
Your turn, undead. What's its CR rating?
I mean, you have to make a wisdom saving throw against 14.
But what CR can you attack up to? All turn undeads have a CR rating.
Oh, right. Yeah. I
Suspect it's not going to be too high.
that's for the destroy, right?
Mm.
For the turn, it's just that it flees if it doesn't make it safe.
Okay.
Because I'm only cleric level 3.
Okay. So it's getting ready to attack again,
Oh no.
but your words give it pause, and it stops in mid-swing of its sword towards Gerhardt, and its head turns unnaturally towards you, Ella, and it says, "If you are enemies of Strahd, why do you hinder a knight of the Silver Dragon?"
You came running at us, attacking us. How are we hindering you? I yell, hanging upside down out of that with my holy symbol in my hand.
Gerhardt's just gonna shout, like, it says, like, "Actually, I believe it was Waldemar who landed the first blow. That doesn't matter. Do you intend to kill us?"
In the
I
meantime,
intend to
I just
kill. Carry on.
I float up towards Ella and just gently put her into the upright position before my levitation wears out, and I just plop to the ground like a shapeless mass.
Listen, we are not your enemies. If you are an enemy of Strahd, then we might even be allies.
Prove to me that you are enemies of Strahd.
And how would you have us prove this? We came from outside, von Faerun, and I am a priestess of Yonella, and I would never serve a vampire lord.
Gerhardt's actually going to say that he's breathing heavily, rain dripping from his hair. He's going to pause, and very slowly he's actually going to sheath his sword and just hold up a hand, and he says, he's like, "You are clearly no mindless monster. Please forgive this misunderstanding. You know the dangers of the roads in this land at night. We merely sought to protect ourselves."
I stand up and probably make things worse by saying that for a human that has meat on his bones, it's either kill or be killed too many times when you walk the land.
Also, forgive me, but you do look a little bit dead.
I will not rest until Strahd and all his minions are destroyed. But if you are what you say you are, then I urge you to go to Argynvost and persuade Vladimir Horngard, the leader of our order, to help you. If you survive, then you are indeed true enemies of Strahd and our allies. If you die, then so be it.
Argynvost hold is empty. I dust off my shoulders and my knees as I stand up, and there's just dirt everywhere on me. Beside the rats and small creatures that frequent its halls and trying to steal my stash of booze behind the giant dragon fountain, there is nobody there.
The creature throws back its head and begins laughing at you as it does its jaw detach from its thing, and it hangs as it gives a really throaty laugh.
I grab the rope from hanging upside down and do a little turn and then glide down the rope, land at the bottom of it. I rolled a 16 on acrobatics, so that should work out nicely.
Yeah.
My name is Amastaviella Swiftfoot of the Weatherby clan. I'm very pleased, I think, to make your acquaintance. And you say we should go to your leader? What's your name? So we can tell him that you send us. If we end up there.
I do not remember my name.
Oh, that's so sad.
It has been many, many centuries since Strahd and his armies came upon us. And we have been holding vigil in Argynvost ever since.
Gideon will slide down the rope at this point.
If you are a knight of the Order of the Silver Dragon, was indeed a dragon your leader? Or is it just a name?
I'm afraid that you are not privy to that information.
Okay.
If we are to do this,
You can just say that you don't remember. If you don't remember your name, you might also not remember who your leader is. It's okay to admit that.
I would like to use a luck point, and I'd like to, so that I can take advantage on a persuasion to see if he'll answer more of our questions, to try to talk him down that I'm, a wizard, and clearly we meant him no harm. That's why we wouldn't attack, why would I not attack if I had meant him harm? And see if he'll open up a little more. So the first roll was a 1. I'm glad I used luck. 15, then plus 3 for the persuasion.
I would have loved if Gwydion just unprovoked decked the skeleton in the face.
That looks like a 20.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, just sort of climbing down the rope and kicked him in the head.
Yeah.
Oh, so you'd have probably started out like, oh, my dear sir, and just cut off completely. No.
Uh, my path is laid out for me. I will walk these lands until I am nothing more than a pair of bones and ash. I must hunt out Strahd and his creatures. Go to Argynvost if you are truly enemies of Strahd. And he shambles away.
He,
I look
As he
after him.
goes, can I cast Mend on his clothing and armor that he's wearing? Just a friendly gesture.
You can do what you like.
I'm going to do that.
Gerhardt's going to just look to the bushes where Finney is, and he's just going, Maguire, and just nods his head as if to beckon him over.
Finney appears, but he appears from a completely different bush from what you're looking at. As this whole conversation's gone on, he's actually moved around the other side of the trees. He sort of pops out from behind you.
Yeah, Gav blinks a little bit in surprise, but he says, "Can you make anything of the Vistani's tracks?"
I don't know, can I?
I like to think Gideon does random acts of like secret kindness.
That's a 12 on survival.
Okay, so I'm gonna deal with the mending first.
Okay.
So his armor is long beyond repair. It is but you make it really, really shiny and almost like new. And you see the corpse kind of like look at his armor, and something changes on. Before he was striding, like looking for a fight. Now there seems to be a sense of pride as he walks away.
Oh,
Just gesture at him. That would have made all the difference.
You made. Well
Yeah.
done, yeah. You made the the dead thing happy. Well done.
With religion 16, do I know of undead who are not evil?
Um,
And do I know what a revenant is?
We'll get to you. Finny, your survival of 12. All you can tell is that these tracks are 2 days old and they're almost gone. You're going to lose these after about 10 minutes.
Right, so there's no real way I'm going to be able to follow that. Not after this. I mean, look at the state of them. There's barely anything there.
The Vistani are gone.
Well, we do have one new lead, I think.
Well, look, I mean, if we knew kind of where they might be headed, but I don't know the geography all that well. I mean, is there somewhere they know they'd be liable to camp out that direction? He says in gestures towards the mountains.
I honestly think it might be worth our time to consult our handsome friend.
Who would that be then?
Rictavio, of course.
Oh!
I pat Finny on the shoulder.
I thought you'd be talking about the strumpet in the bar.
Yeah. Gart sort of nods and he says, I asked the innkeeper to delay him, but he may not stay for too much longer. We should go while we can. Argynvost told we'll be there whether or not we find him.
I don't fancy going back through these trees, but maybe there's another way back to town.
Okay.
Just a quick one to the DM. Would that arrow he pulled out still be in the area?
Yeah, you just cast it to the floor.
All right, I'll recover that.
Ella, to deal with your question. So you know that sometimes paladins or creatures of deep conviction of vengeance or die with serious unfinished business can be reanimated by their sheer force of will alone. And in all sense of the words, these creatures are evil, but they are evil in a sense that it is only their oath that drives them, for it is the only thing that keeps them any semblance of alive, and only do they get rest after they have successfully completed their mission. Okay.
Yeah.
And yes, you've heard of revenants.
Okay.
Just out of character, that is super sad.
Oh yeah.
I was actually going to do that to my paladin if she died. Bring her back as a revenant.
Oh
That
dear.
would be a cool player or a character to play. They actually have a whole variant type for that, right?
Mm-hmm. It came with Curse of Strahd, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, very cool.
Because she was an Oath of Vengeance paladin, so it made sense if she died before her
Oh yeah.
vengeance was carried out.
Sense.
Uh-oh.
But she never died. Never.
So we have at least 2 revenants in Barovia.
Okay.
Most likely more if the whole order turned or whatever.
Yeah, don't you remember your dream?
Oh.
Briefly, as sort of, very best just a recap. I
So
remember
So your dream was in Argynvost, in a hidden room. There were 7 shambling corpses that kind of resembled that one. And they were filled with hatred and anger.
Yes, I remember now. The realization sort of comes to Gerhard visibly, and he says, I think I know what that corpse spoke of.
And how would that be?
Yes, can you elaborate?
When
Tell
we
us
stayed
more.
in when we stayed in Waldemar's house, I had a dream. In it I saw Argynvost, a hidden room with 7 corpses, their features twisted in unimaginable hatred. Perhaps this is what that thing spoke of. It is
Ella,
just-
sorry to interrupt, but Ella, I need you to roll me a straight D20, please.
Straight D20.
Mm-hmm.
It was only
15.
It was only a dream, so I did not mention it, but it cannot be a coincidence.
Dreams are never just dreams. Sometimes it is your mind trying to tell you what your ancestors want you to know.
Cool. So what are you guys going to do?
So he looks to the others and he goes, I will follow where you lead. The decision is yours.
We have the potential for allies, it seems, at this point. I still say we speak to Octavio, and with these creatures and the ravens, perhaps we might stand a chance.
Yeah, let's first go to talk to Rictavio, then to the owners of the Blue Water Inn, and then let's go to Argynvost.
We
What
have our
are you-
itinerary.
Sorry, what?
Oh, I said we have our itinerary.
It is settled then. Let us be on our way.
Right, so you travel back to Valeki. And can everyone roll me nature checks, please?
Nature.
Oh dear.
Is that int or whiz?
It's wisdom.
It's int.
No, int.
11.
I have a spanking 5.
16.
17.
12.
Okay. It takes you 6 hours to get back to Valeki. It is now the middle of the night.
At a certain point, I grab to whoever is the tallest and closest to me, hand or robe or jacket or whatever, and grab to sleepwalker like behind, because I'm really small and my legs, when you take 1 step, I have to take at least 2, and I'm almost out of spells.
I think
Didn't get to
Gerhard's,
eat that rabbit, and I'm like,
I think Gerhard seeing this is probably just going to scoop her up and carry her on one shoulder, just set, with the legs dangling over.
patting your head. You are a good guy. Even if you let that guy go. I appreciate it very much.
Yes, you are
And then I
very
start to fall
tired.
asleep on your head.
So he's as we enter the town, he's just going to he's just going to say, with Ella just snoozing there on his head, he says, we are all tired. We should probably get some rest. No doubt Rictavio is asleep at this time.
Oh
The
no,
DM looks
that's
awfully
not
too enthusiastic about that.
happy.
I'm very worried about the happy DM dance that is happening right
Oh
now.
yes, me too.
Okay, so where are you going? You guys going to rest?
We're
I assume
gonna,
get a room at the inn.
yeah, we're gonna do that, and then
That's
I'm gonna
the
wait
morning
out
breakers.
an extra
I'm
20 minutes or
scared.
so and have a drink if the bar's open.
Well, that's,
So the bar is not open, but there is a small boy when you arrive to the inn. He's like falling asleep at his chair. You kind of see from his features that this is the innkeeper's son. And when you arrive, he gives you keys to individual rooms, and they cost 1 silver for the night.
Gerhardt's just going to toss him a gold coin. The salt is actually gone, to us, but it's gold. He just tosses him a gold coin, and just that's it. Yeah, that's be done. Nice and casually, just like.
You get a bigger room with a window
Ooh.
because of that.
Excellent. There you
Okay.
go. Knock yourselves out, guys.
And you guys settle down for the night.
I guess. You look way too happy.
Are we rest?
Is there any furniture in the inn room that Finney's in?
So your rooms are, apart from Gerhardt's, are quite small and narrow. The walls are thick, so you can't hear anyone else.
Actually, he's sorry,
What a
Gal.
nice murder house.
Sorry, Gal's actually meant for that room to be for the others.
Okay.
Yeah. just
Well, there's
like-
only one bed in it.
Mhm.
There's one bed in each, and then there's a chest for your effects and a small writing desk.
Go, so whoever wants that, go for it. I'm sure the halflings can get two to a bed.
Yep.
I don't want to sleep alone because it's creepy here. I'm not afraid, but it's creepy.
I'm sh-
we should stay together, maybe. Just safety
Well, I
numbers
mean, if
and
you
all that.
insist.
Well, Gerhardt's going to just sit at the desk in the chair and just nod off in the chair.
Gideon will use his own room.
Whatever room
Well-
Finney does end up in, he's going to make a point of dragging the bed in front of the door.
I'm going to crawl under the bed to make sure that there is no monster underneath it. And I'm going to look in the closet, and I'm going to, I don't know, nail shut the window or something like that. I'm really creeped out by this country.
I actually take the chair out of my room and put it in front of Ella's door and sit on it and knock on the door to let her know that someone's there. And I'm gonna sleep in the chair.
I open the door. Don't you want to come in?
Wouldn't you be uncomfortable?
The bed is really big. If you do something weird, and I pull out the dagger like in flesh, I know how to defend myself, but you have. I think I trust you, and I put the dagger.
I drag the chair inside and close the door and tell her, I have a wife.
I know.
But
I saw her. You impregnated her. Look at you in your ripe age. And I saw that you
Many
love her
times.
very much, so I think I'm safe.
Oh dear.
so Waldemar takes his quarterstaff, puts it right in the middle of the bed, and points at it and says, I'll take whatever half you don't want.
I look at the bed. I take this one and jump on the bed, holding my dagger. And as I said, it's not that I'm afraid. It's just I think we should stick together in here.
Do you?
Yeah,
now?
yeah. And I crawl into the bed and put my hands behind my head and just prepare to sleep.
I go to
Okay.
sleep holding my dagger like other people hold, I don't know, a teddy bear or something.
So there's a candle burning at the desk. Before he yeah, I don't know if everybody notices, but just after a while, Gerhardt's he's sort of just frowning, scowling a little bit, and he again takes out his book, this old tattered, kind of sinister-looking tome, and just begins to sort of quietly flick through the pages.
Just to be clear, Gerhard and Finny are in one room, Voldemar and Ella, and Gwydion is alone, or is everyone in the same room except for Gwydion? Or did I convince everyone to come into this room?
Well, you all have individual rooms, but if you want to all shack up together, I'm not going to stop you.
Gideon's kicked back in his room. He's already in his nightgown. He's nose deep in a book.
Hat for another one.
Every 6 or 7 seconds, he snaps his finger for prestidigitation to take effect, and a small pipe appears. And using prestidigitation, he simulates a pipe vapor smoke, and and then it disappears because it can only last a few seconds. And
Wizard vaping.
Yeah, every few seconds he's doing it again. So he's
it.
chilling, reading his book before bed. It's a poem book, a book of poems, body poems written by red dragons, as the legend goes.
Yeah. So Gerhard took a position in the large room, and it's just he's not taking the bed. Whoever's in wants to spend somewhere a bit more comfortable is welcome, but he's made quite clear he's not bothered about the bed. So just
So far, Waldemar and Ella are just in the same room.
Okay. So you all settle down for the night. It doesn't matter if you're together. I can do what I want. Gerhard, you study for a little while. Your candle dims before it extinguishes, and you settle down for rest. And in your dreams, you dream of your wife, Sophia. And she is sitting in your house in happier times, and she is knitting baby booties. And you, in your dream, you've just come in from a long, hard day's work. From working at the city guard, doing your city guard thing. And she gets up to greet you, and she's heavily pregnant, and she gives you a big welcoming kiss on the cheek and asks you about your day. And she prattles on about her day, giving you the local village gossip. And she goes, oh, and before I forget, here, and she gives you a neatly tied up package that a little note says, love, Sophia, on it. And she gives it to you. She's like, happy birthday, love. She gives it to you.
I think Gerhardt's going to just blink awake at that memory. And just for a moment, sorry, go on.
And as you do wake up, on your chest is the package.
Okay, he's it's
is anyone in Gerhardt's room? Who's in Gerhardt? Is anyone in Gerhardt's room?
I don't think so,
No.
right?
Okay, right. Gerhardt's by himself. Right. Cool. I just needed to check that. Yeah.
Okay, he's gonna just stare at the chest for a moment, and he's not quite sure whether he's still dreaming or whether he's woken up, and he's just gonna rise up and very slowly and warily almost just make his way and just pick up the package and open it.
And inside the package is a black jewel that's about the size of your forehead. It's not a crystal. I just need to point that out to you, and you'll see why. And magical energy emanates from it. Happy birthday. But that aside, as you're examining this black jewel, you hear the sound of turning paper. And as you turn around to look at the reading desk you are, a man who is pale and dressed nobly, sits in the chair, and he is thumbing through your book. And you know who this man is.
What are you doing here?
He smiles at you. And he says, you should get your rest. As he continues thumbing through your book.
He's just got a bit of panic. He's realised his art is obviously taken. His eyes shift to where his armor and his sword lie across the room. Is this a dream?
It could be. It could not be. But have no fear. I am not here to harm you.
Then what are you here for?
I am surprised I have not noticed you before. What interesting company you keep.
These strangers. Boldavar, they are here because of you.
No, you are here because of Madame Eva.
I do not know what games you are playing, creature. But get out of my mind.
Creature. Interesting choice of words. And he picks up the book and closes it with one hand and offers it for you to take. The man that you took this book from could also be considered a creature.
Is he holding it out for
Yeah,
him?
he's holding it out for you to.
Gerhardt slowly paces towards him. He's breathing quite heavily and trembling. He's a bit lightheaded. And the longer he advances, the more real this moment feels to him. And he just snatches the book from him. And he says, you know nothing of me.
I know all. I am the land. And you live on this land. It is interesting you choose to keep this book, considering it is the start of all your troubles.
What do you know of my troubles?
More than you think. But no matter. I will continue to watch. And one more thing. And his hand was this way, and it closes, and it turns, and it opens. And what falls from his fingers and hangs there is a black crystal tied with a piece of leather. Grow strong, Gerhardt.
God, he looks at the crystal, but his face contorts with anger, and he just, get out! Get out!
And before you know it, mist envelops the room. And when you wake up, it is morning. And your room seems pretty undisturbed. But on the table is obviously the black jewel, the necklace, and your book.
Yeah, just is going to pick up the necklace, and he clasps it to his forehead. He feels like he hasn't really slept. He feels exhausted at whatever it is he's witnessed, and he clenches his fist as if he wants to crush it. But after a few moments, after a few moments,
have I overwhelmed you, darling?
Yeah. After a few moments, he just puts it in his pouch and gathers his things and begins to put his armor and his weapon on.
Okay, we're going to pause you there because we're going to rewind a little bit.
Who next?
Ella. You are resting soundly before you wake up in the night, and it seems like the moon has filled your room with light, and everything is coated in a silvery light. And everything looks a little bit misty and a little bit dreamful, but Voldemort is not in bed with you.
I have my dagger clutched to myself. Or do I still have the dagger?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, okay.
Everything, it seems the same, except for Voldemort is not there.
Okay.
And it's really bright.
I
Unnaturally so.
put my hand out and feel around the bed, and then I get carefully up and take a look around in the moonlight, clutching my dagger.
In the darkness, in the shadowy corner of the room. Sorry, I've just seen all these messages pop up. You guys are so distracted. Really?
Sorry.
Just to explain, they're like, yeah, I ship it, and all the rest of it. It's hilarious. You see a man, of noble appearance, who you have seen before in one chance encounter as you met Barovia. He sees that you see him, and he bows respectfully to you.
I get out of bed and I give a very careful nod, but I keep my eyes trained on him. And I say, "Good evening, Lord Strahd van Zaurovich, I presume?"
You are correct. Good evening. Do not worry, I am not here to harm you. I thought perhaps we could talk. And he gestures to the chair in your room and he says, may I?
Of course. Be my guest.
He strides across the room. He seemingly floats before he pushes back his cape and he sits down and considers you carefully.
So you decided to appear in the flesh, or is this another dream?
It may be. It may not be. But I thought we could parley, for you of all your strange companions seem most open to the thought of civilized discussion.
Indeed. So last time we met, you set a creature upon us. I believe Gerhard called it a mist flare. What made you
Yes.
change your mind?
I am immortal. I am not infallible, he says. You do not understand how many times I have had to do this dance.
Is he truthful? What does my gut feeling tell me? My gut feeling is 22.
I just need to see his modifier.
I look very closely at his facial expressions, the way where he looks, how he holds his arms, stuff like that. And I still clutch my dagger.
Rolling against Strahd at level 4. Beautiful.
Yeah.
You feel he is sincere. He is here to talk to you.
Okay.
And
he has to do this. And he had to do this several times already. And he said this that he had to do this several times already. So and we know that we are not the first adventurers or heroes or whatever Madame Eva told us and Arabelle told us.
Exactly.
How very tiresome that must be for you.
You have no idea. I am so tired.
So why still keep playing this game? Why not just let the people that are being lured into this land leave?
It
Why
is
don't
not
you
my
leave?
choice. If I could, I would. And I hope. No, I was never a God-fearing man, you see. But I pray that you will be the ones. But Madam Eva brought you here to play this game. I thought I could dispatch of you quickly like I have done before, using the mist flare. I was wrong. You are far more intelligent than the others that have come before you.
Maybe we are just lucky. Halflings, Hin, are known to be so, I say.
I am beginning to learn that.
And now you decided otherwise?
I've decided that perhaps you deserve a chance. But this is why I am talking to you.
To me?
Well, yes, you are highly persuasive and charismatic. And you are the most open to talk to those who seem aggressive to you in the beginning. Take that Revenant, for instance.
So you have been watching us, just as the Vistani told us.
Yes.
Then you know what I told that Revenant?
I do.
It was very brave of you then to still confront me and to parley.
Sometimes in diplomacy, both must give and take.
Indeed. So what is it that you are offering and what do you need from us?
I want you to break the curse. For me to be free of this hellhole. And I have left the people for many years to their own devices. Of course, they blame you when their children die and when their crops fail, but I have not been involved in their business for several hundred years.
Inside check. 18. Is he still speaking the truth?
Hmm.
Oh, now I remember the Vistani said that he has returned. If he was okay, so that it does add up.
But the items that Madame Eva has set you upon to find are not the ways to break this curse. If you continue upon this path, we will fight. You will seemingly kill me. Sunlight will shine upon Barovia, but then I am awoken again, and darkness descends again, and the mists come back again.
Wait, so the others who came before, they did not fail, as in they were killed, they did succeed, and then everything started anew?
Some succeeded, most failed. The mist flare is proof of that.
Does my inside check still count, or do I have to roll again?
It does not.
So I have to roll again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's even better. That's an 23.
So what part of it are you checking for truth?
If it's indeed it had been the case that he had been killed by the ones who came before us, and then the whole thing reset basically, and the sun went away. Okay. So you're saying there is another way to break the curse? Or is it one curse, or is it several curses?
I have spent many a year trying to work that out myself. I find several leads, but the true masters of this land, some call them dark masters. I call them death.
Okay.
They're the key to all of this.
How so?
They are the ones that gave me my power. They are the ones that brought you here. They are the ones that Madame Eva serves.
And you want us to destroy those dark masters or to break their hold?
Break their hold, destroy them, free me. There seems to be many, many paths, but I will leave it in your capable hands. And he rises to stand to leave.
How do I find those, or how will we find the dark masters? Where do they reside in this land?
Seek out the Amber Temple. Oh, and one more thing. My beloved is in danger in Barovia village. I hope you may protect her. I am trying my best, but I am being hindered.
Your beloved?
Indeed, my Tatiana.
Oh, Arabelle told us that your bride is being reincarnated. Has she reincarnated again?
Indeed.
In Barovia village. And if we go and seek out your beloved and protect her from whatever is endangering her, what is it that you give us in return?
Once you have secured her, come visit me at Ravenloft Castle. I am sure we can find something suiting.
I want your promise of safe passage, and especially safe that we are allowed to leave unharmed and unhindered if we come to visit you in your castle.
My word is yours.
Inside check. Oh no. That's 12.
Yeah, he gives his word.
Okay.
Net 20, by the way.
Oh shit. Very well then. I will convey what you told me to my allies, and we will see.
That is all I ask. Good night.
And to you as well. And I step.
And you wake up. And it's morning. And Voldemar is there next to you.
Another dream. Oh shit.
Excellent. I made Tahina swear. Okay, guys,
Last time
it's morning.
This
is morning. Strahd
Yeah,
does not
but
visit anybody else.
Oh dear. Don't we feel special?
Yeah, my words exactly. Okay. Okay. Gerhard's going to exit his room and go down and have
need a
breakfast.
moment? You seem like you will need a moment. You're like, what do we do?
Oh, Gerhard's going to just go down to his room fully armed and armored. Go down to the tavern and have some breakfast.
I'm doing the cat thing, which means I'm like this in bed and stare at Voldemort until he wakes up.
Oh my god.
Finny, Gideon, what are you doing? You had a nice peaceful rest sleep, no weird dreams.
Yeah, Gideon's face down in his pillow in a puddle of drool. He slept really good. Just no fits, nothing. So he gets up and he takes the strips of cloth that I imagine he packed in his room for safekeeping, and he exits and he waits downstairs for Waldemar to come down. When that happens, I'm holding the action. He's going to drape the cloth over his shoulder, cast mend as it just then falls down over his back, repaired.
Okay.
That's his intent.
All right,
Then he's gonna have breakfast.
Okay.
That's a tasty power move right there.
Finny, what are you doing?
First thing Finney will be doing, you'll be hearing it as he pulls the bed back across the room. By the time he does emerge, he'll be out of the gloomy grey clothes and back into his usual flamboyant outfit. And he will head downstairs to go and catch up with folks and see about getting some snap.
Okay. Voldemar, you are sound asleep. You have an Ella just all up in
I
your
wake
business.
up. I wake up because I can feel something staring at me. And when I open my eyes, I see a very small face just excited looking at me. And I just put my hand over it and push it aside and say, "Not now, Tanya. Breakfast is not ready. Go to your mother." And I just go over to the other side.
Pull your shoulder. You need to wake up.
What is...
Good morning. We are in the Blackwater Inn. We are in Vallaki. We had to run away. No, we didn't. But we did talk to a revenant last night, and we tried to get out of Ristani, and I'm everything that happened last night. So are you up to speed now? Because I really need to talk to someone.
I slowly sit up on the bed, put up one finger and tell, "It's Blue Water Inn,
Yes.
not Black Water."
It's
Now
Blue
you
Water.
are... Yes.
I
The smell
agree.
of bacon lofts through the floorboards.
Woo, breakfast. Never mind. I'll tell you later. And jump from the bed.
I just grumble about young people.
As you can tell, Ella is a morning person. And she had some sleep on Gerhard's shoulder, so she is really now back to her hyper self.
Oh my god,
Breakfast, that is-
I need to try and make Ella drink some coffee.
Oh yeah, give her some sugar. I jump down from the bed and go to the door, out of the door into the hallway, then back in, look around the door. I had a very weird dream, and I think it was a real dream, and I think maybe it really happened, but maybe not, but I think it did, and I'm going to tell you all about it later. And I close the door before I go to the tavern room.
That all happened before Waldemar even got his feet into his boots.
And I'm going to look if the others are awake and about.
Okay, so the others are downstairs, and for breakfast you have fresh, hot loaves of bread that steam, melted butter to dip your bread in, blackened thick slabs of bacon,
Oh,
and
stop it, Leonie, stop it.
and assorted preserves. Oh, and some eggs for good luck.
Finney's giving the food a very good look over, like he doesn't quite trust what he's putting into himself. I'd actually like to use my cook's utensils to spot any impurities in it. And I fail miserably.
I snatch a piece of bacon from Finny and say, "If you're gonna be such a connoisseur of food, better not waste any."
Look, I'm just being careful, alright? After last night and everything else we've seen over the last few days, I'm starting to think it's best not to even trust what I'm putting in me gob.
Last time it was fantastic, I say, standing on my chair, starting to eat. Why shouldn't it be fantastic this time?
Because sod's law, love, that's why.
After a while, Victavio, in his half-elf form, comes to join you as well, and he tucks in heartily.
I wanted to tell them about my dream, but now that someone else is with us, I'm like.
I look at Ella. What's that, love? Something stuck in your throat?
Everything's okay.
Gideon's not eating now. He's just glancing at Rictavio every few seconds, every couple of minutes.
He's got like
It's like
a
he's
little bit
thoroughly
of,
lost his appetite. He slides his porridge back.
he's got like a bit of melted butter just in his like goatee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finney's watching this
I look
exchange,
between
just like,
that, between Gwydion and Anya, like, are you going to do something about it?
He realizes he just like prestidigitates the butter and like looks away, kind of embarrassed.
Finney's watching the whole exchange, just trying to like mentally put two and two together, is trying to suss out what this whole business is with Gideon.
Waldemar shakes his head. This is worse when Edina was stalking me through the woods.
Adina was stalking you?
I did not want to marry. She did.
And so she stalked you?
It was considered romantic at the time.
You're a lucky devil.
That I am.
So
I
how-
certainly don't know what brought up all this conversation, and
Do you not? Would you like me to explain it to you?
no, well, quite all right.
I point at Ella. If you do not do something, she will act it out in personal.
Do you want me to? I'm ready to climb on the table.
I'd like to see it.
Did I hear you mention? I wonder if I would have heard you mention story, or was that upstairs? So he would immediately try to change the subject.
Oh, this porridge is really good. Has anyone
It's
tried
bacon.
it?
Oh yes, it's delicious.
Well, I've
Yeah,
got
you're-
porridge, but I made it taste like bacon.
Gerhard, you're very quiet.
Gerhard is indeed quiet. He has his hands clasped. He has some food in front of him, but it looks like he's barely touched it. And he's just resting his chin thoughtfully on his hands. Doesn't really seem to be paying attention to much. That's why he's quiet.
Rictavio is peeling a boiled egg. And he turns to the rest of you and he's like, once we are finished with breakfast, perhaps you can all join me in my room.
I
Yeah,
have
please.
some business with Gerhard over here, and I just knock on Ella's leg and just give her a wink. Gwydion can resolve all the wizarding stuff with you first.
Someone is in trouble.
His face instantly goes red and snaps his finger. And you guys know the spell. He tries to correct the coloring on his face. It's not quite right. It's a little off.
He's now
It's
purple.
like a BioWare game
Right.
when you put up the thing and you suddenly have this bright flush of this weird
trying to hide
color.
Gwydion went back to character creation.
You are now green.
Oh. He's like nervously trying to click through colors like a bad broken television set.
And then said he has now the worst BioWare haircut, which looks like wet macaroni stuck on his
I was going to say, no
hairline
matter how
of
many
the
times, every time he goes back to redo himself, he looks worse.
Yeah. And you think he can't really cast it quite right because his palms are so sweaty.
At least they're not hairy.
It's
Spaghetti
because sweat is not the spell component you're looking for.
Mage
spaghetti starts spilling out of his pockets.
Are you casting Red
spaghetti.
Hand?
No.
Okay.
I'm just saying that he's just not really casting prestidigitation right because his palms are so sweaty from whatever nervous interaction he's having here.
Excellent. All right. So you guys finish breakfast.
Mhm.
I
And
think
Rictavio goes up.
Waldemar was sticking behind, wasn't he?
Yeah, I want to take Gerhard by the hand and talk to him for a moment.
Oh,
I want to hide and listen in. And I'm a small Lightfoot halfling, so I can easily hide behind people or stuff like that.
Are you guys going to be actively looking out for people listening into your private conversation?
I rolled a 25 on stealth. Just you try to see me.
Oh, Gerhardt's got no reason to hide anything.
Okay, so that would be against Gerhardt's passive, which is succeed. Voldemar, you active?
I'm actively looking for Ella. Or
Oh,
not Ella, but anyone trying to listening in on this conversation.
Okay.
So I rolled it. So what do I roll?
Perception.
Perception.
Perception. Da da da. Where's my handy dandy? Perception. I rolled the 16. I see nothing.
Hidden.
Do you think the coast is clear? Finny, what are you doing?
Finney will be shooting a look around, actually, just to see if that raven-haired woman from last night is still knocking around the inn.
You don't see her.
You dog.
If that's the case, he'll probably be busying himself with breakfast, to be fair. He's got no real reason to get involved in wizarding conversations and whatever discussion Waldemar and Gerhardt are having.
Right, Voldemar, Gerhardt, what do you first?
I look the young man up and down and say, "What happened the other day at the river? Ella tried to tell me, but she mumbles a lot."
Gerhardt sort of gives him a nonplussed look. He said, "The Vistani girl had been kidnapped, and we found her. Bluto the fisherman, it seemed, had attempted to kidnap her. We
And
stopped him.
But you let him go.
He just sort of shrugs and he said, I would have taken his head personally, but it was not my choice.
Whose was it?
I left it to the others. I'm not I'm not a man to dispense justice, not anymore.
You were never one in the first place. The guard is not where you go for justice. I thought you knew that. Heed my word. If you are to make something of yourself outside the guard, you need to take the decisions up to yourself. And I tap onto his forehead. Only what's here is going to make you a man, and not others.
You speak of justice and doing the right thing. Even when I was a guardsman, I tried to be exactly the thing you hated me for. I tried to make them see that justice was for all Barovians, not just a convenient matter of protecting our neighbors. I spent my whole life trying to do the right thing, old man. Do not seek to lecture me now. It is too late.
It is not. You are alive, aren't you?
I tried to find your girl. I may still try yet, if we have the chance. I was not the only one. There were some others, but the indifference is too strong. He sort of looks around a little bit and he says, the Baron, then he thinks better of it and trails off.
I look into his eyes. Say what you need to say.
Not here.
As
And I would
you
not recommend it. There are certain people in this town you do not speak ill of, even when you think you are in private company. There are ears everywhere. In any case, he is likely dead. Or, and again he gives a shrug and he says, I know where his house is. You can go and slay him yourself, if you feel the need. The girl is alive. That felt enough.
I sigh and walk away. You cannot make the blind see. You should learn that by now.
That actually seems to stick with Gerhardt a little bit, and he seems to actively mull that over as you walk away.
Nice.
And he gets up and makes after Ritavia.
You would push past Gideon, who's nervously, eyes wandering up the stairs, looking, where he's going, hesitating whether or not to have, gone on his own. But once he sees you go, he follows suit.
When I noticed that your conversation is over, I stand a few feet away, and then I come up from behind to Gideon and I say, "Ah, there you are! I have been looking for you. We should go up.
Let's.
You are like your spectacles, easily lost."
Smooth.
It won't be the first time I've heard that.
But now I found you. Aren't you lucky? No, come on, let's go.
And I will go.
Okay. So you enter Victoria's room, and
And before we go inside, I have something to tell you, but I will tell you later. But remind me, I had a very interesting dream, and I think it was a true one.
He'll nod.
so as you enter Victorio's room, he is casting spells. Looks like he is casting warding spells in his room.
Oh. Is it divine magic?
Maybe.
I will roll on religion to find out if it's a divine spell. That's 16.
And I rolled a 17 on Arcana to see if I could recognize this little one.
I don't even know what spell this is. God, you guys. Don't be crazy. Asking questions I'm not prepared for. What's with you? Stop it.
The true DM experience, only with Fumbles and Fame.
I know,
Right.
right?
Behind the scenes footage will be on our DVD release.
And it's 17 hours of Leonie and Sam yelling bollocks.
It is X-rated.
Okay, I can't remember what spell it is.
All this because simply Gideon's curious too.
So I'm just going to tell you what the spell is in my head, and you'll just make a decision.
Okay.
So it's a spell to give you privacy.
Mhm.
So no one can spy in on what is being
okay.
discussed.
Very cool.
Okay. So
I-
whatever spell that is. Okay,
I playfully elbow Gideon as I enter the room and take my place in the dark corner.
What did you do? I'm sorry, I missed it.
I playfully elbow you
Oh,
in the ribs as I pass by and just stand in the dark corner.
he laughs nervously for just a second. Oh, yeah. Hello.
By the way that he's casting, could I tell that by my roll that he's invoking some kind of divine power?
Not necessarily a divine power, more like an arcane power.
Okay. So it's not a cleric spell per se.
Maybe. No.
Are
Look
you
up later.
casting non-detection by chance?
It's okay. I just wanted to know if he's a cleric or not. So.
No, he is not a cleric.
He just asked for Octavio, but he wouldn't expect an answer because dude's in the middle of like gesturing and
Yeah.
verbally unsure. He's just trying to show off a little bit. And that's the only divination spell like that he knows.
Is that court and stuff, or are you happy to see us?
So he gestures you all in his room, shuts the door, casts another ward on the door, and he looks at you all. Is everyone here, right?
Yep.
I think
Yep.
so.
Even Finney?
Finney will be downstairs having second breakfast, I think.
Okay, second breakfast. Okay, so almost everyone is here.
It's wizarding stuff, he's got no interest.
What is it today? The party's almost all the time split.
it? I know. Makes my life really hard. We go
Holy
off and
punch.
do world stuff. Sorry, I didn't set the mist flare on you. Actually, set the mist flare on you. Think goes, oh, good. You're all here. Before we begin, I have just one question. The Vistani, are
Yes.
they aligned with Strahd?
Oh, yes. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure they even told us so.
So
Okay.
we've been led to believe.
He closes his eyes and nods. That's all I really need to know. You all find yourself in a very interesting predicament, I imagine. I imagine you have questions.
Yes. Who exactly are you, besides your name? How many vampires have you killed?
Are you
How
seeing
did you
anyone?
came here? Did you came here because you wanted to kill Strahd? Are you alone?
Waldemar,
Are you in a relationship asking for a friend?
Waldemar had his hand raised and he slowly lowers the hand.
Oh, I see. Right. And he sits down, like preparing himself to answer all your questions. I have killed many vampires in my time. My first was one called Baron Mestus. He charmed my son and made him his consort. And I went to free my son, but it was too late. My son begged me to kill him, and I did. The Baron then invoked his revenge on me by killing my wife. So your friend may know that I am single. But I'm not looking. After that, I realized that I must purge evil from the land. Evil cannot be left untouched, and if we do not stand up against evil, no one will.
Gerhardt, his throat tightens at the mention of his wife, but he seems composed when he asks, and who is we, exactly?
Every common man. I did once have an apprentice, Esmeralda, but we long went our separate ways. She was a kindly Vistani girl. It was actually her family that stole my son away and handed him over to the Baron, but we found a mutual respect. Unfortunately, we work in very different ways, and that is why we went our separate paths. I came to this land because Strahd is the ultimate enemy. Look at how many lives and souls he has enslaved.
Waldemar very quietly scoffs.
And what exactly do you propose?
I have been to Castle Ravenloft. When Strahd was last in his dormant, I have read Strahd's confession. The man is a monster.
Of that I have no doubts. But
So
what do
what-
you intend? To simply march into Ravenloft and cut him down?
Well, if I was going to do that, then I would have done that when he was in his dormancy. But he is no longer. And so I am biding my time until I can find the right weapons. For he is not just any simple vampire. Sunlight may hurt him, but he can still walk, mostly during the day. It may weaken him, but he's a powerful monster. And so I will slowly pick away the clues until I feel like the time is right, and then I will make my attack. At the moment, I am trying to learn more about the Keepers of the Feather. I hoped by saving their friend, or what I suspected is their friend, they would offer me aid, but apart from giving me my room for free, nothing is changed.
How
Just
do
keep-
all those things? Sorry.
No, go on.
How do all those things are being connected? I wonder. I mean, we have Were Ravens and the Keeper of the Feathers, and the castle is called Ravenloft. I mean, it's after his mother, but all those ravens, there must be some form of. What is the reason behind it? Could you find that out?
What is the reason behind the ravens?
Yeah, why is it raven everywhere?
Ravens like foresty areas. Barovia is foresty. What more
But
do you need to know?
it's raven loved and they're ravens, and I think that one thing that Madame Eva told us about wasn't it a symbol of ravens or a raven kind or something?
I have heard of that holy symbol, but it has long been lost.
And so, what do you seek from us exactly? Do you believe that we can gain you access to these keepers of the feather?
I thought you would, but you did the task for me, and unfortunately they are still not willing to parley with me. But you also did me another service by letting me know those Vistani are lined with Strahd, so I will also deal with that.
By
That's
the
it.
sound of it, you do not deal with Barovia well.
I've been here for a long time, but I cannot leave, not until my task is done.
How long have you been here?
A very, very long time. And I do not think I have long. I'm in my sunset years. And before my sunset years are over, I will see Strahd wiped from this land.
19 on belly check. Gut feeling check. Is he truthful in what he told us so far, and that he thinks that he doesn't have long?
Don't need to roll that. He's an honest person.
And he really doesn't remember how long he's been here because he has been here so long.
Days and nights blend together with how dark it is.
Okay.
But it seems our goals are aligned. So tell me, how exactly can we help you, Hunter of Vampires?
I would like the keepers of the feather, the last order of this land that stand vigil with Strahd, that are not cursed, to stand with us when the time comes. I've seen peasant uprisings. Some mage came not too long ago. A fool he was. And he rose up a peasant uprising. They marched upon the castle and they were all slaughtered. I do not wish to have the same failure.
And what became of the mage?
As far as rumors go, he was defeated at Lake Zarovich, killed as he fell from the waterfall.
Gerhard frowns a little bit, and he appears, something seems to be clicked in his mind. Yes.
How did he die? Do you know?
Well, I'm quite sure if you fell from a waterfall, you would also die. It's just after this mage fell, he was never heard of from again.
I beg pardon, but I would not die so long as I could cast a spell. Featherfall might have saved this mage if he was a spellcaster. Is it not possible?
It is possible, but he was such a man determined to defeat Strahd. Why has he not come again, if he is not dead?
That I cannot say unless his pride has left him from the loss, but other than that, I guess I cannot say.
Well, from what we learned, there are other enemies of Strahd who had been killed but then came back, so doesn't have to stop you when you're in Barovia, obviously.
There is the Gerhard hesitates. Says, "When I was a guard, there was a man. He was known as the Mad Mage of Mount Baratok. He was odd but harmless enough. He never hurt anyone. He just simply arose each morning and fired lightning into the lake. It was all rather bizarre, but I wonder if he would know anything of this."
I checked out that rumor myself, thinking it was the mage, but every time I felt like I was getting close, things changed. It was almost like I was 10 steps behind. For every step forward, I took 4. I've got to stop the voices. It's not working. It hurts.
Don't do it then.
Yeah, I'm going to stop. I'm just going to talk like this. But he's not happy.
Either way, it may be worth exploring Lake Zarovich and looking for this mage. Every time we saw him, he was skulking around the north skulking around the north shore.
Would you also speak to Aldwin?
Who is that?
That is the innkeeper here, right?
Innkeeper. Or is it the...
Yeah,
No.
correct. That's it's Aldwin.
We
Was
could
he?
certainly try.
Was he the guy who told us about Victoria?
Yeah? No, the wife did.
That's the one you said I should not ask him about the beaver. I say really bad.
Owen, sorry. His name is Owen.
Owen, I was going to say Owen.
Yeah,
Is this the
okay.
same gentleman that poured the wine on our table?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a feeling that they may not speak to me because I did not save their friend, but you did.
And they are having other troubles. Maybe if we help them with them, they would be more inclined to help us. One hand washing the other.
That
Perhaps.
was a wise idea.
See, the more allies we have in this task, the better, which is a good idea.
Precisely.
As I said, safety in numbers. But no one except for Waldemar listens to me.
Oh, my
What?
dear, your input is certainly important.
Well, you have your tasks then.
Yeah.
And he reaches for a package on his desk, which are wolf steaks. And he picks them up and he says, and I have mine. I bid you well.
How can we contact you again? Are you going to stay here?
For the time being.
Okay.
Unless I feel it is unsafe or I have been discovered.
Very.
Very well, von Richten. Till we meet
Stay
again.
safe.
And for what it's worth, I'm very sorry for your loss.
He gives you a very sad smile and thanks you.
It sounds like loss is not unfamiliar to any of us.
And Gideon looks down and just
Aw.
the same sentiment. Yeah, he's sorry for it as well.
Awesome.
Okay, I think we'll go back downstairs. Gout's going to clasp her hands to Fenny's shoulder, assuming Fenny's still stuffing his face.
I need to. Rictavio, we are leaving his room, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
seeing. Right. I need to talk to all of you, and not in the tavern room. You have a nice big room, right? And I point at Gerhard. Let's all convey there and talk.
Very well. I will meet you there. I will fetch Maguire.
Perhaps Rictavio would let us borrow his room since the wards are already cast.
Just boot the guy from his own rooms to talk.
Yeah, I was going to
Well,
say.
he said he was leaving, I think. He said he was going about his own business, so maybe. Might be a chance.
No, it's okay.
If it is important enough not to be heard anyway, otherwise lead on.
Ah, okay. I
I
don't know.
approach Rictavio and ask him for a word outside.
Uh-oh.
He says, sure, join me out back. And he heads towards the stables.
I tell the others that I will be back in a moment. It won't be long. And I follow the man to the stables.
And so now behind the stables is a large caravan that, as approached, it lurches as if something huge is inside. Rictavio climbs up atop of it, opens a hatch, drops his wolf steaks inside, and climbs back down. So what do you want to talk about?
First of all, I want to try and roll animal handling to see if I can calm down whatever is inside. And I rolled a critical fail. Yay!
It is
no,
angry
wait.
at no joking. It's having its breakfast, whatever it is, and therefore it seems quite happy.
I can detect what it is, so I just automatically fail. So I look at Rictavia and say, you keep saying that you have been a long time in Barovia, but you do not understand the ravens and still haven't found a way to approach many others. How so?
This land and its customs are strange. People here are guarded, as so your question hints.
Yes, but I figured that a man of knowledge would know to study the customs of the land, to study the songs that women sing when they die, and when the miller is working the grave. And then you would have your answers long ago, before the rebellion.
I was not part of the rebellion. I saw it, and I saw it fail, and I do not wish to have the same failure. If that means I bide my time, then I bide my time. Strahd is not going anywhere. Heroes come and go, fail. I will not have the same thing happen to me. I will succeed.
And if you do not want to fail, go to the river when women wash the linen and listen to the songs they sing, because otherwise you will not understand nothing about Barovia. I cross my hands over my chest and lean against the back of the stables and watch him with a shit-eating grin, because that chucklehead hasn't been paying attention to anything that's been happening in this land. And I say, do not fail, my friends, for I hold them in higher regard than you. And I push myself off the wall to walk back into the inn.
Damn.
Burn! Rictavia, burn! All right, cool. He's gonna need an ice pack.
Yeah, he's having a
I
bad
mean,
day.
how?
I
How
think Gideon can kiss that guy.
I mean, how he's been chilling in Barovia for like 20 years and he doesn't know what the fuck is with the ravens. What is he been doing?
But I mean, he did manage to sneak into the castle, so that's something.
He is that one white person who comes to a foreign land and doesn't study the customs and what's up with the ravens in this place?
If you would have read the tour guides, no.
If only there were tour guides. Right, guys, I need to go to the loo. You guys are meeting up, and Ella, you have something important to say. So you go do that. I'm going to run to the bathroom.
So first, he's girl's just going to find Finney, and assuming he's still scoffing, just kind of plant a hand on his shoulder, and he said, "Put down your fork. It's time to move on."
Have you finished talking to the old lad upstairs with the wizardy business and all that, right?
You have to disarm his fork.
Sort of blinks a little bit, and he says, "Yes, of course. Now come on."
And how's the old fella looking? He says, and a bit of a grin on his face. Did he manage to get through it without falling over his own tongue?
And which one would that be?
Which one do you think?
I do not know what you mean.
Finney just rolls his eyes. Right, come on then, you miserable get.
Okay, we all get back into the room. I take it.
Yeah, I also took a couple of sweet tarts from the tables downstairs. I give one to Gwydion and one to Ella, and I pat Gwydion on the shoulder and say, "You're gonna need this one."
Well, I too have experienced loss in my time, and it affects everyone differently, of course.
And just because someone is not looking doesn't mean that they're not going to end up with someone. And I reach out my cake or whatever, like two glasses to clink together, but with a cake, a cake toast.
I do appreciate the encouragement. To be honest, we do have much more pressing matters at hand, so I do understand where he's coming from.
I made an amend that Rictavio is an idiot. I do not think that will impede your chances of getting together.
Well, as Gerhardt comes in, leaves Finney in, he closes the door behind him, and he looks to Ella. Says,
Okay, guys.
So, what is it you wanted to tell us?
Okay, I don't know about you, but you all seemed pretty cheerful this morning, so I guess none of you had a dream last night, but I had one. And
Not again.
I think it's... Hear me out here, okay? I think it was more than just a dream. I think that Strahd came to... I dreamt of the vampire, and we had a conversation. It was pretty coherent, and I never have such lengthy conversations in a dream, so I'm pretty sure it was not a normal dream. And he told me lots and lots of stuff. Has anyone of you ever heard of something called the Ember Temple? I look at Voldemort and Gerhard.
Would we have heard of it?
Roll, please.
Okay.
Is it a history check?
It is.
Oh no.
Okay, let's have a look.
24.
Ooh, good roll.
And
I have a big history modifier. You hear that, ladies?
Nat Ron, so
Did you just say, did you hear that, lady?
Of course I did.
Internet high five.
Voldemort has a big history modifier.
which means he's old. Are they just Nat 1 for me?
Okay. So but you have heard of.
Okay, so, Voldemort, you have heard that a long time ago, before Strahd even descended upon the valley, a secret society of good aligned wizards built the Amber Temple, and it was a place that you go that grants wishes. But the temple has long been lost.
It was a place that was meant to be a good one. You would go there to have a pretty daughter, to have a good son, to wish for wealth and happiness. But like all things good in Barovia, its location has withered from the pages of history.
I see. Well, when we met yesterday with the Vistani, I think you were no longer with us then, but the others should have heard that the leader of the Vistani, the father of Arabelle, told us that Strahd is watching us. And I think we felt some evil presence in the hut, and so there are scrying spells and stuff like that. So I guess there is some form of connection. And he told me that he saw our conversation about the Revenant with that knight of the Order of the Silver Dragon, and that we were willing to talk to him instead of slaying him or being slain in turn. And he said he would like to parley, and so I heard him out. The Strahd, not the Revenant, although I did also hear out the Revenant, but I mean Strahd in my dream. And he told me that he told me a little bit about the things that Arabelle also told us, that he has been cursed by something that's called the Dark Masters, a big evil, and that Madame Eva is in truth serving that evil, and that's what made him cursed and immortal, I think. And there is a place in Barovia called the Ember Temple, and that's where the Dark Masters reside, or maybe information about them, or something like that. And he also told me that that we are not the first ones to come here. And I think Madame Eva told us that as well as Arabelle and some others. We are not the first outsiders, and not all of them have been slain by the dangers of this land or by the vampire himself. Sometimes someone succeeded by getting all that stuff that Madame Eva told us about, and defeated Strahd, and the sun were shining and the mists were gone, and then suddenly it happened all again. And I'm pretty sure that that he was not lying when he told me that, because my belly told me that it was truth. And so even if we do succeed in getting all that stuff to break the so-called curse, it might be that it will all just come back again. And he said, in order to break the circle for real this time, we need to defeat the Dark Master. So I think that's what it's always a bit hard to read someone who's undead. You know, they don't blush and they don't breathe, and it makes it pretty difficult to see if they're lying. But I had a very good feeling in my belly about all of this. And I think he was very truthful when he told me that the Dark Masters are the bigger problem. And he also told me that his beloved Tatiana had been reincarnated again, and she's in Barovia village, and she's in grave danger.
As she finally starts to come to an end, Finney's just going to reach his flask out and take a breath and have some of this.
I'm not finished yet. And he said that if we came to Castle Ravenloft to parley with him more, he grants a safe passage and he would not harm us. He promised, and I believe him. It was a promise, and you don't break promises like that.
Not to disparage your obvious insights, but
I pat my belly.
Vampires are notoriously seductive and persuasive creatures. Even if you are certain that he was telling the truth, that may not be so. This was a dream of his. He could have manipulated anything about it.
I would say, let's just check out every lead and just keep an open mind. As I said yesterday, we should not go on this errand that Madame Eva set us upon just willy-nilly without listening to anything else. I think we should talk to every player in this game and find everything that we can, and then do what we think is best for us to get away from here and to save as many innocents as possible.
The player you speak of is the man who tried to kill us, who has tormented the people of this kingdom for countless centuries. This is no potential ally we speak of. This is the devil's Strahd.
I'm not saying he's an ally. I say he is a player in the game. Not all players are, of course, allies. There are some of them who play against us, but maybe in his wish to lead us astray, he will give us clues in order to defeat him. And if defeating him means that we can also defeat whatever is behind him, and this is not the first time that we hear about the dark powers. I'm just saying, let's keep an open mind.
I rolled a 15 insight to see if Ella's been beguiled by a vampire or something.
How'd you know?
I am of sound mind!
Can you
do I have a roll? Do I have to roll anything?
I
would like to roll persuasion to convince you. I think you don't understand. I'm not saying that he's the good guy here. I mean, he's a vampire. That does mean that he's not good. But yesterday you agreed to talk to revenants, and they are undead. It doesn't make them good, right? I mean, undead.
Did you not hear the whole halfling tales about not making deals with devils and all that?
I didn't make a deal with him. I heard him out, and I said that I would talk to you about it.
Revenants do not create themselves. They are victims of foul magic.
Yeah, well, you don't just jump up one morning and say, "Woo, I'm a vampire." Someone made him as well, right? It's just not like, doesn't have like, and then you're a vampire.
The gods cursed him for all the blood he has spilled. He has been cursed to crave it forever, for he has started such a bloodshed that Barovia has never seen before or after.
So maybe those gods, and I don't believe that those are gods, I think those are some form of evil spirits, are the ones that we need to cull. And maybe we can finish him off as well.
So you do not think there is a god who would curse a living creature that has built a kingdom based upon human suffering?
How would you know that is why he was cursed?
I have my own beliefs. You have your own. I have been in Barovia for over 60 years.
I think you are misunderstanding me. I don't have any beliefs as of yet. I have only bits and pieces of a picture, and I'm trying to fit them together in a certain way, and I'm open to rearranging that. So
And
I'm
yet-
just giving you the information that was passed on to me, and I say
And
let's
yet-
check everything out.
And yet, this is your gut feeling that you seem to rely upon more than anything. Again, I
Well,
do not mean to sound dismissive. You have done us a great service so far. You're
My
proven
gut-
to be a valuable ally, but I cannot help but feel this is too convenient.
I only say that to me it felt sincere the way he told me about it. I mean, he could also be led astray, right? If someone tells you something they believe is true, that doesn't make it necessarily true. So that is why we have to investigate. I thought you were a god. You should have known. Should know that word. You don't just run around and just kill people or hang them just on hearsay. You are picking up pieces and then you investigate them. And when you come to the bottom of it, then you act.
I know.
Everyone shits on Gerhardt's abilities today.
I also know as a guard that Bluto the fisherman was a desperate man, that he was not a killer, a murderer by nature. But there are many I have caught who simply are, who are simply beyond reason. They simply seek to kill for pleasure or to appease some dark purpose. We live in a
Oh, no
land
doubt about it. There is evil in this world, and it needs to be there. Someone needs to put a stop to it. And obviously, we are the ones that have been destined, or we just have been brought here by happenstance to do so.
Kitty break.
At this
Our
point,
new DM looks stellar.
Gideon will stand up and stand next to Ella as she finishes speaking, and he'll look down and he'll smile at her, and he'll look at everyone else, and he'll say,
While I do not trust Strahd, I do trust Ella, and her gut has led us out of trouble quite well in the past. Perhaps we should hear her out, just hear her out for now and entertain this idea, because it may well be as she says. It may give us clues on what we need to really accomplish to escape.
Either way, there's little we can do about it for now.
Yes, but
I suggest we keep the Ember Temple in our minds, but do not make it a priority.
I love you, but get down. Thank you.
Because if I was Strahd, I would convince you, the people who are free to move and have goodness in their nature, to lead me to the place where I can wish for anything, to a place that may contain the only piece to a puzzle that makes me killable, so that I can destroy it.
I think we have been handed many strands of the web, and I would say let's just tug on all of them until the whole thing unravels. Something will fall out in the end.
It may as well be us falling out.
Well, or maybe
But-
not.
But I appreciate you conversing with Strahd while I was asleep right there. And
You weren't there in my dream, or I would have tried to wake.
you just told me it wasn't a dream.
It was, I don't know, some form of vision or something. But you weren't there. Next time, try to come with me into my visions, okay?
And you
Get
were
out.
worried that I would do something stupid or weird.
But hey, I didn't get killed. I listened to him, and we and I got some information. Even if nothing comes out of it, let's just check out everything. Keep an open mind about things.
Gerhardt's going to just look to Finny and said, "You've been unusually silent." What do
I
you
was
think?
kind of waiting for her to, exhaust herself a wee bit, to be perfectly honest. What do you want me to say? I mean, on the one hand, I've got you guys telling me he's a devilish elf, and on the other hand, I got her telling me that he's maybe not all that bad.
I'm not saying that he's not all that bad. I'm just saying there is someone even better behind him, and that we have to kill them as well. You are willfully obtuse, and I had too much coffee. Why did you give me that stuff? I said to Voldemort.
The way I see it, it's not going to make a great deal of difference if I take his word for it or not. At the end of the day, we still, speaking for myself, the lass and the old fella there, we're still looking for a way out of here. And regardless of how it turns out, the end goal seems to be quite the same thing. We've got a few things to be looking at, hopefully to get us going in that direction. If it happens to expose Strahd for being a victim as opposed to a tyrant, then maybe it does, and we find out along the way. But right here, right now, with this inn, I don't know any better.
Yeah, nods. But he actually is just going to look to Waldemar, as to say, "Forgive me for not asking sooner, but how fares your son?"
He is better, but he is not himself yet. The scroll demanded a person of worship, and I hope that Ella would be that person. And
Hey, I
while-
was that person!
And while we made my son's life easier for that time, the source of his curse has not yet been lifted.
Strahd.
I believe so. Either
Yay.
Strahd or one of his close servants.
Could happen any time again, because the evil is still there. Who caused it? Who caused the curse?
Just remind me briefly, wasn't there a temple in this place? You reckon? Don't you think there might be somebody here who knows a little bit more about the kind of curses that might be affecting your boy?
It's
I do
maybe.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
I do not think that Bartosz needs an exorcism.
Well, you know, if it's one of those where it requires a holy person, it's certainly not going to be me. But if we've got holy people in the town, it might be worth the inquiry.
If so, I will ask to exorcise those devilish things with the flute you taught him.
There is a
I-
priest. There is a priest I know at the local temple. Before we leave, it might be worth asking him at St. Andrew's Church.
Yesterday, when Bartosz got sick, I did pray for him, and my magic was not strong enough. And the scroll that Rictavio gave us was the same spell, but much, much stronger. And when I used the scroll, the spell it took effect, and the fever broke, so the curse was lifted. But the source of evil, who created the curse, is still around and could still be felt. So this is not just a matter of healing the boy. You have to get rid of the evil who's at the source of this whole thing.
Then I suggest we begin. Let us talk to Erwin and see if he can introduce us to these keepers of the feather.
Before we do, consider, as long as we have Strahd thinking we align with his goal of breaking the curse, the boy may be safe. It could be he is a living hostage. It may make us feel safe that he's in our possession, but Strahd has proven himself genius if that is the case. The leverage he has on us, what can we do but let the boy die or not, you know?
No!
As
I'm just
cruel
saying,
as it may be, I believe we must test whether or not he is a puppet for Strahd. What if
Strahd
we
himself may be a puppet, in fact.
And he just sighs and looks down.
Okay, you need to take a deep breath, because you're going to drive yourself crazy if you think everyone is going to be a puppet of Strahd. Okay?
do I look crazy to you? As-
No, but he's about to hyperventilate, so someone needs to give him a paper bag or something.
What is paper?
A leather pouch.
Excellent. So, you guys are back on the path.
Finally.
And it took
So
us
to
only
speak.
5 hours.
So to speak. and filled with purpose.
Despair.
And with that, we're going to end the session because it's getting quite late where you are, isn't it, Anne?
Yeah, tiny bit. I mean, you cannot see the sky anymore.
So we will be back in 2 weeks' time to continue our Curse of Strahd adventures. Thank you very much for joining us. This
Thank you.
session will be available if you missed it all. We'll put it up and save it so you can watch onto it, and we hope to see you soon. Next week, what's going on next week? Let's have a look. Do my loading dance.
Follow Leonie and everyone else in the party on Twitter for updates, character ramblings, and yelling about how we are afraid of Leonie killing us all in one fell swoop.
Because I can totally do it if I want to.
Yeah.
Also, I hear there may be some art going online.
Yep. Hopefully that this or next week I'm going to have some time to use some sketches that I've done during the session and upload them as fully colored pictures. For now, I'm just sharing them on the Curse of Strahd Discord channel. Because I've done some sketches. I did a sketch of that raven-haired beauty that has robbed Phineas his calm demeanor. I mean, who wouldn't? And I think there are some scenes that deserve to be painted, or at least drafted, to be illustrations.
Excellent.
Lovely
Come
stuff.
join us on Discord and get involved in the fun. We have lots of players waiting for games to start up. There are a couple of slots available here, there, and everywhere. Just join the Discord, looking for a group, and have a look. Next week, is DDO back? Do you know?
Yes, I believe so.
Excellent. So on Tuesday, join us for Dungeons and Dragons Online. And then Friday, come join us for Horde of the Dragon Queen. We're going off book because it's so combat heavy. But some interesting things may happen. And then Saturday, join us for Out of the Abyss. And then bringing up Sunday is DM Tolly and Tomb of Annihilation. So thank you for joining us tonight. I hope you had fun and you enjoyed all the fun things that happened. And we will see you in 2 weeks.
See you, folks.
Bye. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.